This video continues with Chapter 61 and Quot Ice-Breaking Operation&quot. One Piece, The King of Fraud. Chapter 61 and Quot Ice-Breaking Operation&quot. As soon as these words were spoken, the effect was immediate. The swordfish mermaid immediately changed her attitude and even began to take the initiative to ask the guests to leave. In less than a moment, only the mermaid waiters were left in the mermaid cafe. They looked at Charlie curiously, waiting for her instructions. Zia Lai scanned the area and after confirming that everything was correct, she raised her pipe, pointed at Qin Yun and introduced him. His name is God Qin Yun. He is the god of the kingdom of heaven. He will be the savior of Fishman Island and the benefactor of our mermaid clan. She paused for a moment, allowing the mermaids to accept Qin Yun's identity, and then continued. Your task today is to play with Qin Yun and take him to experience the characteristics of Fishman Island. If everything goes well, maybe in the next 2 days we can leave the deep seabed and head to the sky full of sunshine and air. Zia Lai's move was to provide Qin Yun with an opportunity to capture the mermaids, allowing the mermaids to conduct an ice-breaking operation with him and quickly deepen their emotional relationship. What? Can we go to the surface? Lady Zia Lai is absolutely right. We just need to obey her. Milo happily swam to Qin Yun, took over one of his arms, and said with a smile, I knew you wouldn't lie to me. Come with me, and let the sisters take you to experience the charm of mermaids. Tilda, as she said that, she wanted to pull Qin Yun towards the group of mermaids. Qin Yun felt the little hand on his arm and thought to himself, this Milo is too enthusiastic about him. Could it be that he will also be loved at first sight? And it's a beautiful mermaid. He couldn't help but smile and said, then I'll be looking forward to it. Tilda, don't tell my words to others for now. We just need to know it among ourselves. After saying this, Zia Lai waved her hand and wanted to leave. Her authority as the store manager could not disappear during play. Okay, Tilda, the mermaids responded in unison. Lady Charlie, come here too. You haven't played with us for a long time. Tommy suddenly jumped out of the crowd and grabbed Charlie and wouldn't let her leave. Seeing this, Kylian, who looked like Sister Kami, called on all the mermaids to come forward to help, and persuaded Zia Lai to come and play together. You come on, Zia Lai, it's no big deal to relax once in a while. Qin Yun knew that she was embarrassed to let go of the burden in her heart. Even you? Okay, I can go with you, but you don't have to worry about me. The important thing is to complete the task well. Zia Lai had no choice but to give in and gave a few reminders. Great! When the mermaids heard this, they cheered immediately. At the moment, nothing interested them more than getting along with Madame Charlie. Next, after closing the mermaid cafe, they came to Shirley's private luxury estate. This place was built by Zia Lai specifically for the mermaids she adopted. When they came here, they could see many young mermaids playing around. When Qin Yun and others arrived, they surrounded them happily and led the way for them. The backyard here looks like a water park, and the mermaids take Qin Yun to play freely. The mermaids each took out their sunscreen and stood in a row, waiting quietly. Qin Yun selected his favorite mermaid and smeared the tacit props all over his body. After being selected, Qin Yun gladly accepted their attentive service. He returned the favor by applying sunscreen fish lotion for them as well. During the one-on-one conversation, he learned their names. There is no need to say much about Mrs. Shirley, who was the first to accept him. Merlot, who has a flower on her head and long light blue hair, and Luras, who has long wavy orange hair and is petite and cute, are already familiar with each other. Kami and Kylan with long wavy green hair, and Sierra wearing snail-shaped headphones and a brown ponytail. Sora has straight yellow hair and a lake green fishtail, and of course, Ishiri has long black hair and twin ponytails with freckles, who has a lot of roles in One Piece. These are the only ones whose names you can find and are pretty. You can only see the other pretty ones in the pictures below. The other mermaids also understood his choice after seeing it. There were too many mermaids, and after selecting the beautiful ones, there were enough to circle around Qin Yun several times. The rest of the time is for happy play. Kin Yun played with the mermaids in their laughter and joy, sliding down the water slide non-stop, feeling happy and wonderful. They created waves and took him flying on them. After playing so many games, the relationship between everyone became closer. They enthusiastically rushed to hug Kin Yun, pulled his arms into their hands, tickled him wantonly, and spread the fun of teasing him. They showed strong curiosity and deep liking for Kin Yun. Mello said that they seldom see humans, and those who come to Fishman Island are usually pirates. These criminals are usually expelled by the Sea King's army before they can even reach the mermaid's living area. The reason why they were so eager to get him and did not reject him was more because most mermaids would go to land, marry human men, and have children. Kin Yun was so outstanding that he naturally became their favorite. They ended the game with a water polo match. All kinds of soft and elastic skin and water balls always hit Kin Yun intentionally or unintentionally, making him feel unbearable and about to spiral into heaven. It was a wise move to find Zilai first. After playing together, Kin Yun felt that Zilai's arrangement was extremely satisfying. So, he waved his hand and gave each of his favorite mermaids a thunder badge from the kingdom of God to protect themselves. Everyone returned to the manor to eat their meal, but at this moment, the sound of den den mushi, a type of phone-shaped insect calling, broke the atmosphere of laughter. Bulu bulu tilde. Without waiting for Charlie's reaction, Kimmy excitedly went to the den den mushi and answered the call. Moshi moshi tilde. I am the eldest prince of the Dragon Palace Kingdom, Shark Star. Is Madame Shirley here? Kimmy looked back at Zilai, and after receiving her affirmation, she responded, I'm here. What can I do for you, Prince? It's like this. Father asked us to look for the god Emperor Kin Yun. We searched all over Fishman Island and finally heard in Mermaid Bay that a strange human went to the Mermaid Cafe. I wonder if Lady Zilai has seen that person? Lord Kin Yun? Kin Yun chuckled. He didn't expect that the Dragon Palace Kingdom would act so quickly. It seemed that he didn't have to go there in person. What do you want to talk to Kin Yun about? Zilai asked. Shark Star understood in his heart that Kin Yun seemed to be right next to Zilai. He didn't know how these two people who had nothing to do with each other knew each other. Father would like to invite Lord Kin Yun to visit Dragon Palace City and taste the delicious food of Fishman Island. Come and wait for me outside of Zilai's private estate, and be gentle. Shark Star was startled. It seemed that his guess was correct. The man's voice must be Kin Yun. He replied respectfully, yes. Sir Kin Yun. Be gentle. It seems that Lord Kin Yun doesn't want to be disturbed by us. Well, then wait. Kylian, she has long wavy green hair and wears a head flower and 2 necklaces. Sierra, she wears cone-shaped headphones and has a brown ponytail. She and Milo are very close sisters. Sora, wearing a lavender-striped hat, long golden hair, and a lake green fishtail. This one can't be posted. Look at the group photo below, the one in the middle holding the pufferfish initially. Long black curly hair tied into 2 ponytails, and the fishtail is black and white straight scales. Group photo of mermaids. Those who are beautiful in the picture are assumed to be captured by the protagonist. Chapter 62. Attitude is the mask of the heart. Pat tilde at Kin Yun's signal, Kami turned off the den den mushi. I didn't expect that the royal family of the Dragon Palace Kingdom is so respectful to Lord Kin Yun. Yishali smiled sweetly and held up the cream cake on the table to feed Kin Yun. That's the eldest prince, Lord Shark Star. He has always had a good temper, but he has never shown such respect to outsiders. The mermaids were amazed and had a preliminary understanding of Kin Yun's power. After everyone had finished their meal, it was time for a nap. Under Zilai's arrangement, they went to a room that could accommodate many mermaids. The mermaids sang beautiful songs for Kin Yun with all their might, allowing him to fall into a sweet and soft dream surrounded by the sweet mermaid fragrance. When Kinyan woke up, he found that the three princes of the Dragon Palace Kingdom and the Sea King's army had been waiting outside Zialai's manor for a long time. But he was not in a hurry to see them. As the party holding absolute initiative, he could not appear too anxious. Attitude is the mask of the heart. One must let them down and dampen their arrogance in order to better express his attitude so that his ultimate goal can be achieved smoothly. The mermaids also woke up one after another and chatted with Kinyan for a long time. After a while, they came to the hall and had afternoon tea. After a while, Kinyan gently pushed away the afternoon tea handed to him by Sira, and his eyes wandered to Zialai. Zialai, please come with me to Dragon Palace City. With your assistance, I believe the future you predicted will come true soon. Good Tilda. Charlie nodded and led him to the entrance of the manor. Even though Shark Star and the Poseidon army were waiting impatiently, they did not dare to complain at all. They kept Neptune's instructions in mind. But the reckless second prince Emperor Star and the unruly third prince Overturn Star had already become impatient, but they did not dare to utter a single word due to the intimidating gaze of Shark Star. Seeing Kinyan and Zialai, Shark Star secretly glared at Emperor Star and Cartwheel Star, then took the lead in getting off the Phoenix Tail car and respectfully saluted Kinyan. Lord Kinyan. Lord Zialai. Kinyan nodded. Their attitude was very humble and kind. As the saying goes, don't hit someone who smiles at you. He said bluntly, let's go, take us to Dragon Palace City. Seeing that Zialai was also going, Shark Star didn't dare to say anything to stop her. He turned around and led them into the carriage. During the journey, the terrifying aura surrounding Kinyan and Zialai made the three princes afraid to approach them, and they arrived at Dragon Palace City in silence. After receiving the message from Shark Star, Neptune immediately ordered the chefs to prepare the special delicacies of Fishman Island. Then he fell into deep confusion. How could Kinyan be involved with Zialai? They were going to come to Dragon Palace together. This problem was not figured out until the three princes brought Kinyan and Zialai to the palace. In order to show his extreme importance to Kinyan, Neptune not only arranged a grand reception ceremony, but also personally came to the gate of the palace to wait for Kinyan's arrival. When Kinyan's figure appeared in sight, Neptune swam forward with a warm smile and said in the most sincere tone, "Wow, Mr. Kinyan. I am King Neptune. I am honored that you have the honor to visit my Dragon Palace City. It really makes my entire Dragon Palace City shine." This is not Neptune's exaggeration. This is the humility and helplessness of a small country and the usual behavior of a country without strength. The fact that Neptune could do this when facing someone who could easily destroy his country shows how accurately he understood his own position. Some people say that he has the Whitebeard pirates backing him up, so what is there to be afraid of? But in fact, this is also what he is afraid of. If someone has a grudge against Whitebeard or wants to pull him down from the position of the four emperors, well, as the only way to the New World, Fishman Island is undoubtedly a soft persimmon that can be easily attacked. Kinyan nodded and said calmly, King Neptune, I have heard of your name for a long time. I believe you also know my name. I am very busy, so there is no need to say any more polite words. Please come in. Mr. Kinyan is a straightforward person. I won't be pretentious. Please. Neptune secretly gave the three princes a look, then waved his hand to let the Sea King's army lead the way. It was the first time for everyone to meet. As the host, Neptune should have started the conversation, but Kinyan blocked him with his words. There is no need to say more, and he had to walk to the palace hall in silence. Under the arrangement of the left minister, everyone sat down in an orderly manner. Zialai was arranged to sit next to Kinyan. He looked up and saw that everyone's seats were at the same height, which meant that Neptune gave corresponding recognition to his title of God Emperor. Neptune did not arrogantly put himself in a high position without understanding his identity. Seeing that everyone was ready, the left minister clapped his hands and whispered to the Sea King army around him to serve the dishes. In less than a moment, the huge table was filled with a wide variety of delicious food. Although there were a lot of them, Qin Yun didn't care. Now, with the wholehearted support of many goddesses, his digestive ability has greatly improved. Even eating 10 meals a day is no problem for him. Seeing that it was almost done, Neptune smiled and said, "Mr. Qin Yun, please eat, please." Qin Yun responded and started eating. Zia Lai was not hungry and was not interested in the food. She fed him gently the whole time. This heartwarming scene stunned many mermaids. They could never have imagined that Mrs. Charlie, who was usually so cold and aloof, would actually lower herself to feed a human. While Zia Lai was feeding him, Neptune asked in a low voice, "Mr. Qin Yun, Mrs. Zia Lai, are you two already married?" He said this out of pure curiosity and did not feel anything strange. He was 12 meters tall, but his wife, Princess Adoheim, was only 2 meters tall, which was much less compatible than Qin Yun and Zia Lai. "Yes, Zia Lai has now become my divine concubine. Congratulations on your marriage." Neptune quickly offered his blessings. Qin Yun nodded and continued to eat the meat. It must be said that the food on Fishman Island is quite good. However, in such a huge palace, the only thing they could offer to entertain distinguished guests from afar was a table full of delicious food. There is no display of culture or the beauty of talent, such as a singing and dancing troupe. But it's true, Neptune was a man of few desires, and he only had one wife, Princess Adoheim. After her death, he did not remarry, so it seemed that there was no point in maintaining a troupe for people to watch. After 3 rounds of drinking, Neptune finally revealed his true purpose. "Mr. Qin Yun, did you come to Fishman Island on a Sea King?" "Yes." As soon as he heard this, Qin Yun knew why Neptune came to him. Things related to Sea Kings were too sensitive for them. "So it's true, alas. After my Sea King army reported to me, I thought they were lying to me. I wonder if Mr. Qin Yun can tell me how you control the Sea Kings." Neptune's face was full of nervousness, fearing that Qin Yun would overturn the table if he was unhappy. Chapter 63 Sea's Power. Qin Yun raised his eyebrows and pretended to be displeased. "Why? You also want to learn how to control Sea Kings? You can't get my most powerful trick just by treating me to a meal, right?" You snapped. The flip star was irritated by him and couldn't help but say a few words, but was stopped by the quick-eyed and quick-handed Dabidoo of the shark star next to him. "Sorry, I ate too much today, Poseidon. Come and send Flipstar back." Shark Star looked apologetic, and Flipstar was taken away by Poseidon with a frustrated look on his face. Qin Yun didn't even bother to look at them and glanced directly at Neptune. Neptune smiled apologetically. "Mr. Qin Yun, I have spoiled the little prince. He doesn't know how high the heaven is or how deep the earth is. I hope you can forgive me." Seeing that Qin Yun still had no expression on his face, he continued, "If you don't want to say it, it's your right. We have no intention of forcing you. Have you ever heard of Poseidon, the king of the sea? It sounds good, but if he has the power, he will not let go of anyone who can control the Sea King, because this ability is the foundation of Fishman Island. I have only heard of Poseidon, the king of the sea, one of the 3 ancient weapons. To be honest, according to legend, Poseidon will appear on Fishman Island. She is the king of the Sea Kings and can communicate with them in a friendly manner. Your Excellency is able to command Sea Kings, which is similar to Poseidon's ability. This forces me to ask about this. This Neptune is not honest. He hides the truth and doesn't tell it. Is he trying to protect Shirahoshi?" Qin Yun nodded, and it was time to proceed to the next step. "I can command the Sea King because of my strength. It attacked me on my way to Fishman Island. After I defeated it, it admitted defeat and was willing to lead the way for me." "What?" Neptune was shocked. Qin Yun's strength was indeed unfathomable. He could actually defeat a Sea King that was 2,000 meters long. It means that after you defeated the Sea King, he offered to lead the way for you. Could it be that you can understand the language of the Sea King? Yes. Neptune immediately thought of his old friend Roger. Roger once showed him the ability to communicate with Sea Kings, but that was just communication. He had never demonstrated the ability to control the actions of Sea Kings. Qin Yun can actually command Sea Kings. Since you have no problems, then Qin Yun's mind moved, and the terrifying domineering aura suddenly burst out, accurately attacking all irrelevant people. After a breath, he, Charlie, and Neptune were the only ones awake. Mr. Qin Yun, what is this? Neptune was shocked and tensed up, ready to escape in case Qin Yun suddenly attacked him. Don't worry, Neptune. They just fainted. They are not worthy of hearing what is said next. Qin Yun explained and signaled, Charlie. Zia Lai understood and spoke freely. Your Majesty Neptune, I wonder if you still remember the prophecy I told you a few months ago? Neptune was stunned for a moment, then he quickly remembered. He first stole a glance at Qin Yun, then said, Of course I remember, the largest war since the beginning of the Great Pirate Era, the Marine War. In this war, Whitebeard will face death. That's right. Although I can't tell you exactly when the war will happen, this day is not far away. Maybe in the next few months. Zia Lai had a serious look on her face. After that prediction, she didn't dare to make any more predictions until today when she was forced by Qin Yun to do so. Just today, I have a new prophecy. Under Qin Yun's rule, Fishman Island will fulfill the 1,000-year-old dream of the people on Mermaid Island. We will stand in the sky. There we will enjoy endless sunshine and air. What? Neptune was shocked. With Charlie's character, she would never lie. This is her ethics as a prophet. He believed in Zia Lai's predictions unconditionally because their accuracy was as high as 100%. As long as there was a prediction, it would definitely happen. Faced with Luffy, who saved Shirahoshi's pet, Neptune was able to arrest Luffy and others without knowing his own limitations because of Shirley's prediction, which shows his blind trust in Shirley. So, Mr. Qin Yun will be the ruler of Fishman Island, the great benefactor of our Fishman Island. Yes. So where did I go? Sorry, I was too confused to notice you in the future scene. However, all the mermaids and fishmen have happy smiles on their faces. Princess Shirahoshi will also become Qin Yun's divine consort. I think His Majesty has returned to the people and is quietly working for Fishman Island. What about Fishman Island? Are we leaving here? No. Fishman Island will be taken away by Qin Yun, floating from the bottom of the sea 10,000 meters below to the sky 10,000 meters above. This Zia Lai, it's not that I don't believe you, but Fishman Island will fly into the sky. This is too far-fetched. As far as I know, only Shiki, the golden lion who is as famous as Roger and Whitebeard, can accomplish this feat with the power of the float fruit, but the golden lion has been killed by me, and his fruit ability has also been taken away by me. Qin Yun saw that his focus had shifted and interrupted him directly. These are not your concerns. My purpose for coming to Fishman Island is just as the future described by Shirley. I want to take Fishman Island away. Bring it under my rule. Let the fishmen and mermen leave the seabed and live on the sea, enjoying the inexhaustible sunshine and air. Isn't this your dream? I can make all of this happen, but you have to pay a price. What's the price? Neptune's face was solemn, knowing that any decision now would affect the future of Fishman Island. The price is that the royal family of the Yugu Kingdom voluntarily gives up their power, gives up the rule of Fishman Island, and transfers all the ruling power here to this god. Neptune was stunned. The royal family of the Dragon Palace Kingdom was his family, wasn't it? He opened his mouth and uttered a word almost inaudibly. This anyone who is asked to give up the power that he has held for a long time, no matter how much he cares about justice, will probably be reluctant to do so, right? Neptune carefully considered his words, trying to retain his power. Why, if your excellency wants to make the Dragon Palace Kingdom a vassal state of the Kingdom of Heaven, we will not resist. Why do you need to take away our management rights? If we do this, Fishman Island will fall into chaos. Humph. Alarmist. To be honest, I don't care who manages Fishman Island as long as it follows my instructions. However, your government's ability is too poor, so I have no choice but to take away your power. Chapter 64, Neptune and -039's Surrender. Neptune considered himself a qualified king. This was the first time he was accused of poor governance in public. He immediately retorted with a red face, "My governance is poor? What's wrong with it? Don't make random comments. I'm too lazy to talk about the details. So let's just talk about the biggest hidden danger, Fishman Street. Haha, it used to be a large place to take in orphans, but what is it now? Do I need to remind you? Zealai once lived there. She has the most say. Why don't you listen to her thoughts?" Neptune's expression froze. Fishman Street. It was indeed his fault that this place became what it is now. Zealai sighed and said expressionlessly, "After more than a decade of free-range development, Uran Street has now become an area where illegal groups gather. There's more." Qin Yun took over the conversation. "The powerful fighters of Fishman Island are all in Fishman Street, and there are more than 100,000 minions, which are enough to overthrow your rule. You have made so many capable members of Fishman Island stand against you, the rulers. You were able to create such a situation. Do you think you have strong governance abilities? This, alas, I didn't kill everyone there just for Captain Jinbei's sake." Neptune was speechless and could only give an excuse with an embarrassed look. "Haha, you're telling me that you're letting the rule of a country develop because you want to have a private relationship? This is why I want to remove the power from your hands." Alas, Neptune could no longer utter any words to refute. "Okay, if you really care about the future of Fishman Island, just accept my arrangements. After that, I will let some mermaids or fishmen learn how to manage the country. You can also nominate yourself or your descendants, and the best among them will work for me. Finally, I will teach Shirahoshi how to govern the Yugu Kingdom. She will serve as my divine consort, become the queen of Fishman Island, and govern Fishman Island for me." Shirahoshi, hearing the voice of his beloved daughter, Neptune could no longer sit still. Before he finished speaking, he remembered Charlie's prediction and knew that no matter what he said or did, he could not change the future outcome. He suddenly became dejected and sat in his chair, at a loss. Seeing him like this, Qin Yun did not urge him. After a long silence, Neptune thought of his beloved wife, Princess Ottoheim. After her murder, he began to think about the future of Fishman Island. He vowed to fulfill his wife's ideal of peaceful coexistence with humans and work hard to enable the fishmen and mermen to migrate to land in the future. Besides, things have developed to this point, and he is no longer able to control them. I am afraid that if he does not agree, it will not change the predetermined outcome." Neptune's eyes gradually regained their determination. If the future of Fishman Island required him to make sacrifices, he was willing to give everything for it. He just hoped that his precious daughter Shirahoshi could live a good life. "If you can really do all this and achieve the future that Zealai foresaw, I can agree to your request. But you swear to protect Shirahoshi, love her, and never let her cry easily again." Qin Yun was stunned. Neptune was indeed a daughter's slave. Now, he was actually seeking the welfare of Shirahoshi. From this perspective, he may not be a qualified king, but he is a qualified father. "Don't worry. Although I have never seen Shirahoshi since I came to Fishman Island, Zealai has told me everything about her kindness and loveliness. After she becomes my consort, I will naturally give her endless love and care. You don't have to worry about the future of Fishman Island. The humans on the ground will discriminate against the mermaids and fishmen, but the humans in the sky will not. The people of the kingdom of God under my rule will angrily destroy foreign invaders, but will remain on the sidelines and be curious about those who coexist peacefully. Is that so? I feel relieved then." Neptune breathed a sigh of relief. Things should be able to develop smoothly, right? He hesitated for a moment and decided to tell Qin Yun Baizing's identity. As Baizing's future husband, he was qualified to know it all. "Mr. Kin Yun, in fact. The Sea King Poseidon is a mermaid princess who only appears once every 800 years, and Shirahoshi just meets this requirement and has used her ability before, but she has not yet been able to truly awaken and use it proficiently. I know all this, Neptune. It's recorded in the history of the kingdom of God. I didn't expect you to tell the truth only now. It seems that you have accepted reality. This Neptune laughed awkwardly. There was nothing wrong with what he did, right? Now that the matter has been agreed upon, the next step is to implement it. Issue an order this afternoon and have all mermaids and fishmen go to Gyrecord Square tomorrow to learn about the future of Fishman Island. I'm going to Fishman Street to stretch my muscles and eliminate all unstable factors. Oh, right, the secret treasure of the Dragon Palace Kingdom, the Jade Box, was secretly disposed of. The Jade Box was replaced by Hody Jones a few years ago. Now there is only a powerful bomb left inside. What? Neptune's eyes widened, but Kin Yun couldn't lie to him, so he could only mutter in disbelief. I've long felt that something was wrong with Hody Jones, but I didn't expect him to be so bold. Kin Yun thought about it, and when he felt that there was nothing missing, he stood up and prepared to leave. Wait until they wake up, and you can explain it yourself. Zialai and I are leaving first. Neptune suddenly thought of something and said quickly, Wait, mister. Kin Yun, my daughter Shirahoshi is being attacked and harassed by Vanderdecken, who is the user of the parahuman target fruit. I wonder if you can kill him as well. Vanderdecken? Of course Kin Yun knew about this. Speaking of which, such a huge Dragon Palace kingdom couldn't even find or kill Vanderdecken, who had low combat effectiveness. I really don't know what Neptune and his sons, and Jind and his sun pirates are doing. At this point, he was too lazy to criticize Neptune here, and said calmly, Don't worry, I'll take care of him when I come back to play with Shirahoshi later. After hearing this, Neptune felt relieved. This matter had troubled him for a long time, and he could finally solve it today. Seeing Kin Yun looking impatient and wanting to leave, he quickly stopped him. Wait. Neptune stood up and swam to the side of the throne in the hall. He took out something from behind the throne, then swam to Kin Yun and murmured with a complicated expression, This is a gift left for Shirahoshi by her mother, Otoheim. I wanted to give it to her when she got married. Well, take it. With this, Shirahoshi will surely be able to accept your sudden identity. Chapter 65 Massacre. Kin Yun's expression was moved. Princess Otoheim was indeed very fond of Shirahoshi, but it was a pity that she was assassinated by Hody Jones early on. He raised his hand to take the thing from Neptune's hand, and then he found that it was actually a jade box. After opening it, he found a pair of light gold and pink shell earrings inside. This look seems to be similar to the pale yellow shell earrings that Shirahoshi usually wears. Don't worry, I will put this pair of earrings on Shirahoshi myself. You can't protect her past, but her future will be protected by more family members. After saying that, he gave Zialai a look and took her out of the hall. Only the sentimental Neptune was left silent for a long, long time. Kin Yun held Zialai in his arms while flying and asked, You probably don't know anyone in Fishman Street, right? Zialai shook her head decisively. Of course not. I just lived there for a while when I was young, and the environment of Fishman Street was quite good at that time. That's fine, then I'll just start killing. Kin Yun was very fast, and soon he sent Zialai back to his private estate. With his extremely wide-range observation haki and the ability to lock onto the Murlocs, he could now easily lock onto the Murlocs on Murloc Street. After lightning flashed several times, he stood in the sky above Fishman Street. He could only vaguely remember a few of the new Fishman Pirates leaders, Hody Jones, the invisible blue and purple striped Fishman Geo, and the drunken octopus Beazo who fought with Zoro, and there seemed to be a dwarf. Kin Yun's observation haki swept across Fishman Street wantonly. The place was in a dilapidated state, and there were few enclosed spaces that could hinder his observation haki found it. Drinking on the street. You're in luck. Octopus and leopard hideaway. God's judgment. There are blue sky and white clouds on Fishman Island, but there are very few clouds. Kin Yun's divine judgment is not obscured by clouds. It blooms directly in the clear sky and then falls down with a loud bang. There was no fishman around the drunk Baozang at all, because when he was drunk he could not distinguish between friend and foe and would kill at will. Before Baozang could even register any warning, he was struck by a dazzling blue lightning column, leaving a huge hole in the Fishman Street. Kin Yun's observation hacky saw this scene and thought to himself, the land of Fishman Island seems to be more precious than Sky Island. He has already weakened the power of God's judgment, but still melted a lot of land. It's a pity to destroy such a beautiful Fishman Island. The next moment, because electricity was faster than sound, Baozang was killed and the rumbling sound spread throughout the entire Yuran Street. Is that thunder? This is Fishman Island, 10,000 meters below the ground. How can there be thunder? Many fishmen who had been to the ground and witnessed thunder and lightning recognized Kin Yun's attack and couldn't help but marvel at it. The huge noise attracted more fishmen to appear, allowing Kin Yun to observe them better. But they were too weak, so Kin Yun had to come to a fishman whose aura seemed a little stronger. Mersaman, tell me, where is Hody Jones? I can spare your life. Kin Yun's domineering look shocked the mind and frightened the strange-looking fishman. He trembled with fear and murmured in a low voice, I don't know. That's not right. Hody Jones is on the north side of Fishman Street, next to the most luxurious house. It's easy to spot. Kin Yun nodded. With his mind-reading ability, no one could fool him. He then turned into lightning and flashed towards the north. Sure enough, there is indeed a unique big house here, but it is not luxurious enough. There were quite a few murlocs walking around idly. 3,000 million volts Thunderbirds. The cry of the Thunderbird echoed through the sky. The Thunderbird spread its huge wings, and its fierce oar frightened the patrolling fishmen so much that they could not make a sound. Boom! The Thunderbird crashed into the upper floor of the building, broke down the outer defenses, and automatically selected a little unlucky guy. The moment it passed through his body, it exploded with a loud bang. The smoke and dust cleared, and the sounds of coughing, weak breathing, and angry grinding of teeth were heard. What's going on? Who dares to attack here? Boss Yuodi, you are not dead, are you? I shouldn't be dead. Oops. Squeak tilde. The smell of burnt fish gradually spread, and Kin Yun raised the big foot that had electrocuted Hody Jones's soul without expression. Hody Jones? He tilde weakling like this who doesn't even know hacky and can only take drugs to increase his combat power. Damn, Luffy didn't kill him instantly. He's just pretending to be stupid. Kin Yun would never make such a low-level mistake, mainly because there were no audience, no stage, and he was too lazy to act cool. Hody Jones didn't even have time to take the deadly drug before he was electrocuted and went straight to heaven to meet his idol Aaron. Who are you? What did you do to Boss Hody? A Sharkman asked as he retreated with horror on his face. Judging from his appearance, he seemed to be of the same race as Hody Jones. However, when mermen or mermaids give birth to children, the species of fish their children give birth to is determined by the genes of their ancestral species from many generations ago, and is not necessarily related to the species of fish their parents belonged to. It was quite a coincidence that he and Hody Jones were of the same race. No wonder he followed Hody Jones. 2,000 million volts, electric eyes. Kin Yun's eyes were fixed on the Sharkman who was speaking. After only a few screams, the Sharkman was burned to ashes by his extremely penetrating electric eyes. Das, kill him. The sound came from underground. Kin Yun looked around and saw an invisible fishman lying there. He had been trampled by 3 or 2 fishman minions for a long time without making a sound, but now that he witnessed the death of Hody Jones, he could no longer sit still. It's him, that funny fishman Geo, who has a strong sense of self-esteem and gets trampled on. After hearing the order, Das rushed towards Kin Yun shouting Das, causing the corners of his mouth to twitch slightly. The fishmen around Hody Jones should all be the elites of the new fisherman pirates, right? Qin Yun released the restraints on his body, and under the guidance of his observation haki, boundless thunder began to spread, electrocuting all the fishmen on the field. What? Please let me go. Human, I was forced into this. It feels so good. The fishmen screamed and wailed as they died one after another under the merciless electric shock of Thunderbolt. There were also a few electric eel humans cheering under the thunder. Qin Yun's attack seemed to be charging them. The more they were charged, the more energetic they became, and they even let out comfortable shouts. Numbers are meaningless in front of him. In the extraordinary world, only the truly strong can survive in the top battles. Chapter 66 White Star. After a few breaths, only a few electric eels were left alive on the field. Qin Yun thought about it and thought. It seemed that there were no electric eel fishmen in the new fishman pirates. Forget it. Just be a good guy to the end. It's not good to keep a few electric eel people. Qin Yun raised his hand and took the deadly drug that Hody Jones carried on his chest. I don't know who developed this thing. It should still be a semi-finished product. The effect is amazing. Although your strength will be doubled after taking it twice as much after taking one, quadruple as much after taking two, and so on, it comes at the cost of shortening your life and accelerating aging. The final product should permanently increase the strength of the person taking the drug, or even double the effect. Take it back and let the scientific research team study it in the future. Maybe we can create a fortified army that is fearless and brave. Qin Yun calmed down and turned into a flash of lightning and left. Pio Dai Huan. The earth seems to be injected with life, resembling a winding and circling oriental dragon, and its two red eyes transformed from corals are captivating. The dragon's body tumbled and spiraled, rolling the big house where Hody Jones was underground, and finally transformed into a fascinating evil dragon head, standing proudly on the field. As for the fishmen who managed to survive the thunder and lightning, can they really avoid being strangled under the dragon's weight? The other fishmen in Fishman Street are just small fry and are not to be feared. Perhaps, one day in the future, they can even contribute to the development of Qin Yun's Kingdom of God. Fishman Island, Yugu Kingdom. After Neptune woke up the fainted people, he explained everything to them. Although everyone was furious and tried to stop Neptune's decision, wanting to send troops and invite boss Jinbei to fight against Qin Yun, Neptune had made up his mind. After he pointed out that this was Madame Shirley's prophecy, everyone was speechless. When Qin Yun arrived, they had already followed Neptune's orders and sent the Sea King's army to the main living areas of the mermaids and mermen to notify them of plans to go to Jilong Court Square tomorrow. Outside the hardshell tower, lightning flickered and Qin Yun's figure emerged from it. The door of the hardshell tower was closed tightly. The guards on both sides saw Qin Yun and hurriedly came forward. They had received instructions from Neptune and the right minister that if Qin Yun came, they should not neglect or stop him. Master Qin Yun, do you want to go in and visit Lady White Star Princess? Well, open the door. Yes. The Sea King soldiers on both sides put their halberds aside and pushed the huge door of the hard shell tower with great effort. When they opened the door a little, Qin Yun could pass through. Then they turned around and shouted respectfully, Master Qin Yun, please come in. Princess Shirahoshi may be resting. If there is anything wrong with her performance, please bear with her for her young age. Neptune told them to say all these words. After all, he knew very little about Qin Yun and had only a preliminary impression of his character. He also loved his daughter dearly and was afraid that Beijing would accidentally offend him and be treated unfairly. Well, thank you for your hard work. Please tell Neptune that I will take Shirahoshi away. After Qin Yun finished speaking, he took 3 or 2 steps and entered the hard shell tower. So dark were Shirahoshi because of Vanderdecken, a pirate who coveted her power as the Sea King Poseidon, and the inaction of Neptune and Jind. She had to live in the hardshell tower for nearly 10 years. How can Shirahoshi grow without freedom? How can she awaken the power of the Sea King? Just think about it. Is Vanderdecken really that difficult to catch? Don't tell him that Jin doesn't know observation hacky. To deal with a rookie fishman who has taken a devil fruit and cannot swim in the sea, he just needs to spend a day searching in the direction of the weapon thrown by Vanderdecken, and that would solve the big trouble for Shirahoshi, right? After all these years, he has never been busy, and he didn't even help Baizing escape from his suffering. Qin Yun directly transformed into an element, and the light of lightning was extremely dazzling, illuminating Baizing's room. He waved his hand and the door of the Hargel Tower closed. At this time, Shirahoshi was lying quietly on her cute big bed with her eyes closed, seemingly sleeping. Qin Yun's observation color swept over her, and Baizing's breathing became short and continuous. He smiled knowingly, turned on the light in the room, and appeared above her head. Admiring Shirahoshi's sweet sleeping face, an inexplicable impulse surged from my heart and body. It was a great honor to travel through time to have such a mermaid. White Star should be the biggest, of course. Qin Yun was talking about her body shape. Princess Shirahoshi tilde hearing Qin Yun's call, Baizing opened her eyes in confusion. She rubbed her eyes dazedly, then looked towards the door and whispered softly, "Who is it? Is it the soldier tilde here tilde a?" Princess Shirahoshi looked in the direction of the voice, her big watery eyes widened, and she whispered, "Are you a human? I haven't seen a human for a long, long time. I shouldn't have recognized you wrongly." No tilde Qin Yun's tone softened rarely. Is Baizing's humble attitude cute? Or pitiful? I am still a human being. My name is God Qin Yun, and I am the god and emperor of the kingdom of heaven. Of course, to you, I have a more important identity. That is your future husband tilde God. My husband. Baizing's panic was evident. Her two small big hands waved in front of her eyes at a loss. Her blushing cheeks were adorable. Master Qin Yun, you are not lying to me, are you? Princess Shirahoshi, look, what is this? Qin Yun chuckled and reached his hand into the void like a magic trick. Baizing's gaze followed Qin Yun's hand. When she saw his hand disappear, she was shocked and subconsciously covered her mouth, not daring to make a sound. The next moment, Qin Yun took out a jade box from the void, which was the identity proof given to him by Neptune. This is when Shirahoshi saw the distinctive pattern of the Yugu Palace on it. She instantly thought of her mother and murmured in a low voice in disbelief. "This is the gift your mother, Princess Odoheim, wants to give you when you get married. It is also a token of my loyalty as your husband." As soon as the words fell, Baizing's tears flowed like a river bursting its banks, unable to stop. She stretched out her hands and gently held Qin Yun in her arms. Unable to stop crying, Qin Yun was overwhelmed by the sudden attack. He didn't have the heart to react and interrupt Baizing's joy and excitement when he saw Princess Odoheim's gift. The huge tears were like sweet raindrops, falling on Qin Yun's head, body, and even the tears soaked his entire body and his clothes. Shirahoshi, she is very timid, always crying, gentle and kind, and is used to calling everyone adult. Her beauty can compete with Boa Hancock. Chapter 67 Husband tilde. The mermaid princess tears are indeed sweet. They don't seem to have turned into pearls. I just don't know if drinking them can make one immortal. Qin Yun felt extremely wonderful in Baizing's hands. The world he touched became incomparably warm. Although Baizing's hands were big, they were unexpectedly soft. After an unknown amount of time, Baizing finally calmed down a little. She suddenly remembered that Qin Yun was a fragile human being, and quickly took him out of her giant hand. Looking at Qin Yun's comfortable and dazed expression, she asked worriedly, "Master Qin Yun, are you okay?" "I'm sorry, I was too excited." Qin Yun regained consciousness, and he comforted her softly, "Baizing, don't worry. Even if you hold me in your hands for the rest of my life, I won't be hurt at all. You can continue next time." "Is that so, Lord Qin Yun? I'm glad you're okay." Baizing immediately put down her worries, revealing a charming smile that aroused Qin Yun's heart. "Shirahoshi, can I help you put it on?" Upon hearing this, Bai Xing hesitated for a moment, then looked at Qin Yun carefully and found that his appearance was very much in line with her ideal husband and was the type she liked. Besides, Qin Yun was able to get this pair of earrings, which meant that he had received his father's approval and blessing. So sure tilde Lord Qin Yun husband tilde his tilde Qin Yun took a breath of the fragrance. The word husband really touched his heart. With a determined look, he flew to Bai Xing's ear and let the jade box float in the air. He first took out Bai Xing's 2 light yellow earrings, then picked up an earring from the jade box and reminded softly, Shirahoshi tilde I'm going to put the earrings on you tilde yes. My dear husband, I'm not afraid. Although her face was flushed, Shirahoshi still called out the 4 words husband-sama, and her state was obviously more fluent than before. Qin Yun didn't have mojai and quickly put on 2 new earrings for Bai Xing. Okay, let's see how it goes. Qin Yun casually took out a large mirror from the storage room and suspended it in front of Bai Xing. Bai Xing was not in a hurry to look at herself. Instead, she held Qin Yun in her arms and looked at him with eyes full of admiration. How amazing! Is my husband really a god? It seems like he can create anything. Haha tilde of course I am a god. Qin Yun smiled and reached out to touch her head. Bai Xing narrowed her eyes slightly, enjoying Qin Yun's touch on her head. After she felt the little hand on her head leave, she looked at the mirror and murmured softly, the earrings are so beautiful, thank you. My husband tilde Qin Yun nodded, and next, it was time to let Bai Xing continue crying. Shirahoshi, today's surprises don't end there. The murder of your mother, Princess Otoheim, Hody Jones, has been sent away by me personally. You don't have to bear this truth that you have concealed for more than 10 years. Tilde, why does my husband know all this? Shirahoshi was stunned. This news was even more surprising to her than the earrings her mother left her. She has been suffering from the pain of concealing the identity of the murderer. Even though she knows who the murderer is, Princess Otoheim's words don't hate the murderer have firmly restrained her desire for revenge. You know, I'm a god, right? Yeah. Bai Xing seemed to be convinced by his reason. She hugged him in her arms and started crying again. Qin Yun did not resist and let her vent her emotions. Cry, cry, let Bai Xing cry her heart out today. Sooner or later, she will vent these tears of joy. However, after today, Qin Yun will only allow Bai Xing to cry about twice more. As for why it was twice tilde who knows. After a while, Bai Xing seemed to have thought of something, stopped crying, held Qin Yun in her palm, and asked expectantly, Hey tilde my dear husband, will you always protect me from now on tilde? That's right. From today on, no one can hurt you. Qin Yun's tone was firm, making Bai Xing's big, tearful eyes curved into crescents with joy. My dear husband, please forgive my willfulness. I want to leave the Hardshell Tower and go to the sea forest of Fishman Island to pay tribute to my mother. Can you take me there? Bai Xing blinked her cute big eyes with an expectant look, as if she would not be able to hold back her tears and cry out loud if Qin Yun refused. Of course, I came to you to take you away. Really? You're so nice. My dear husband tilde Bai Xing rubbed his cheek with a smile, then put Qin Yun down and happily rummaged through the clothes in the big box beside her. Soon, Bai Xing picked out a piece of clothing and shouted in a cheery voice, My dear husband. How about this outfit? Tilde Qin Yun looked intently at Bai Xing, taking in her beauty. She has a beautiful face, bright blue eyes, a voluptuous figure, long flowing pink curly hair, a taiyaki-shaped hair accessory on her head, and a light and dark pink fishtail on her lower body. This appearance and figure are truly unparalleled in the world. No, you are looking at the wrong place. You should be looking at the clothes. The eye-catching upper body is sealed by a delicate and cute light blue top, while the lower body is matched with a white pleated long skirt covering the fishtail. At first glance, there is an air of scholarly scent of a lady from a noble family. Perfect. It looks good. You are the most beautiful girl in the world no matter what you wear. Qin Yun's truthful words made Bai Xing blush and she twisted her body awkwardly. Woo Tilda, as long as my husband likes it. Tilda. Kin Yun saw that she was ready and reminded her again. Shirahoshi, take out anything you want to take with you. I'll keep it for you and you can always ask me for it. After you leave here, you can live in a place that loves you. Tilda. Is that so? Tilda Baizing looked at the things in the room, thought hard for a while, and gave all the things he was reluctant to part with to Kin Yun. Door, storage room. After a hurried tinkering, 2 figures, one small and one big, looked at the empty room and laughed out loud at the same time. However, Baizing was embarrassed and giggled quietly, while Kin Yun was moved by her cute behavior and smiled with satisfaction. Baizing was so gentle and kind that she was reluctant to throw away anything in the house and actually let Kin Yun take them all away. Everything was ready. Kin Yun took out a pink square flying carpet that was 30 meters long and wide from the storage ring. It was engraved with angel wings and thunder, which was the symbolic pattern of the kingdom of God. Come on up, Shirahoshi. Wow, is this a flying cotton blanket? Baizing swam to the flying carpet and fiddled with it curiously. That's right. Tilda. Kin Yun's eyes focused, and the power of floating was activated. The flying carpet carried him and Baizing up, and the door of the hard shell tower opened immediately. Hold on tight, Tilda. Chapter 68. What are we going to do? Okay, my dear husband. The flying carpet drew a trace in the void, rushed out of the door of the hard shell tower, passed over the heads of many mermaids, and passed through the pipe connecting to the Fishman Island. No Sea King's soldiers dared to stop it on the way. The right minister, who had guarded Shirahoshi for more than 10 years, looked at the direction they left and silently wiped away his tears. Perhaps it was just the right time for this iron-blooded man to shed tears. Princess, go and enjoy your precious freedom. Northeast of Fishman Street, the sea forest. It is full of colorful corals and colorful tropical fish swim among them. Kin Yun talked and laughed with Baizing along the way. After Baizing was brought out by him, she felt very dependent on him. When they see beautiful scenery or strange-looking fish swimming around on the road, they will exclaim to share their joy with him, and even hold him in their arms and interact closely with him. Shirahoshi is young and inexperienced, and it is precisely because of this that her understanding of the darkness of the world is as blank as a blank sheet of paper, that her relationship with people who are friendly to her quickly warms up. This is indeed the case. In Baizing's view, all of Kin Yun's words and actions are expressions of his love for her. The journey was smooth, and after Baizing arrived at the sea forest, she easily found the place with the help of Kin Yun's observation based on Neptune's description of her mother's burial place. Shirahoshi stopped smiling, bent her tail in front of Princess Otoheim's grave, and cried about her experiences over the years. In the end, it all came down to one sentence: Mother, I miss you so much. Afterwards, he introduced Kin Yun to Princess Otoheim and showed her the pair of meaningful earrings. The warm breeze blew slowly, ruffling Shirahoshi's beautiful pink hair, as if Princess Otoheim was responding to Shirahoshi's thoughts and expressing her blessings to Kin Yun and Shirahoshi. After a long silence, Shirahoshi reluctantly said goodbye to Princess Otoheim, stood up and swam to Kin Yun, hugged him in her arms, and expressed her love for Kin Yun with clumsy actions. My dear husband, thank you for bringing me to see my dear mother. This is what I want to do most. I didn't expect there would be so many surprises today. You deserve this, Shirahoshi. What are we going to do next? Tilda. Kin Yun was stunned, then looked at her innocent and cute smile and smiled dotingly. If it was Nami, Robin, and the others who said this to him, then it would be obvious what to do. However, the innocent Shirahoshi said this without any distractions. What's next? By the way, Robin also wants to read the main text of history. Next, we will head to the depths of the sea forest. There is something there that one of your future sisters is very interested in. Okay. Tilda. Baizing had no objection. For her now, as long as she could be with Kin Yun and enjoy the gentle sunshine and fresh air outside, it was enough. Afterwards, Kin Yun controlled the flying carpet and took Baizing to the sea forest. After a while, they came to a huge square stone. Kin Yun took a lot of photos with his video camera, recorded the content, then sat on Bai Xing's hand and continued chatting with her. The two, who had just established a relationship, seemed to have endless topics to talk about. After chatting for a while, Kin Yun's eyes suddenly flashed red, and he saw a huge axe flying rapidly from a distance, rushing towards Bai Xing with unstoppable force. However, it was shattered by a bolt of lightning that he casually swung out. Vanderdecken? Bai Xing was shocked when he saw this scene. He hugged Kin Yun with lingering fear and felt extremely aggrieved. The red light converged, and Kin Yun's observation haki locked onto the flying axe. He directly sent out a bolt of lightning to smash it into pieces at a distance so that Bai Xing would not see it and would not be scared again. My dear husband, what's wrong with you? Bai Xing looked at the blue lightning that he suddenly threw out, her big tearful eyes full of curiosity. It's okay, Shirahoshi. I just suddenly remembered something. Come on, I'll take you to solve the culprit that prevented you from leaving the house. The culprit? Bai Xing temporarily suppressed the doubts in his heart and swam to the flying carpet while holding Kin Yun. The flying carpet spiraled up into the sky and flew out of Fishman Island. Passing through the double-layer bubble membrane on the outer layer of Fishman Island, the flying carpet heads straight for Noah's Ark. Under the influence of Pio's force, the surrounding sea water automatically moved away, forming an empty path leading directly to Nguyen. Squawy tilde my lord, the sea is hiding from us. Tilde Kin Yun smiled without saying anything, and sped up silently, causing her to exclaim in surprise. After a while, a big head with an ugly and ferocious appearance appeared in Kin Yun's attack range and was easily killed. It is hard to imagine that such a large big-headed giant is actually a fishman. Watatsumi was a member of the Flying Pirates and was very loyal to Vanderdecken, but unfortunately he was backstabbed by him. Kin Yun let go of Bai Xing's thumb and floated in the air, accumulating destructive thunder in his hand that was enough to penetrate everything. After a few breaths, the color of the thunder changed from blue to purple and then to black, and then he pushed forward suddenly. Door, open the door. Thunder method, thunder that penetrates the dead night. The dark thunder, emitting an unrivaled black light, was swallowed by a door in the void. The next moment, a black hole appeared on the back of the big-headed giant's head. Before the sea water could flow in, it was shattered by the powerful black thunder. Watatsumi had no idea what was happening before the back of his head was smashed by the black lightning. A large hole was melted in the huge head, and the scorching heat spread rapidly. The remaining body tissues exploded because they could not withstand the extinction temperature of the black thunder. Just like that, the huge body of the big-headed giant Watatsumi was broken into pieces here and there on the seabed, and was eaten by the stupid little fishes who scrambled to eat them. Watatsumi's speed was slow to begin with, his strength was mediocre, and he was attacked by Kin Yun in such an unsportsmanlike manner. One can imagine what his fate would be. The smell of the burnt meat didn't have time to spread before it was blocked by the dark sea water, not letting in even a little bit. When Kin Yun and Bai Xing flew up, only strange remains were left on the seabed, proving the existence of Watatsumi. Is this the ship of the Oath? No. It is so big as half the size of Fishman Island. Was it built by the giants or Joey Boy? Kin Yun speculated secretly. This is no. My dear husband, what are we doing here? Bai Xing did not ask Kin Yun what the meaning of the lightning was. Kin Yun had his reasons whether to tell her or not. I was thinking, this big ship belongs to me now, but it seems useless to me. When Noah grew up, he no longer needed to row on the sea. He could fly 10,000 meters in the sky wherever he went. However, Noah has a passenger capacity of at least 500 million, so it would be a shame not to take them away. What can it be used for? Chapter 69, Preliminary Study of the Power of the Sea King. I heard from my mother that it was prepared for the residents of Fishman Island to migrate to the mainland. There are so many rooms. My husband might be able to use it for people to live in. Baizing's idea is indeed a last resort. If no one can think of a place, let those men who work for him live there for the time being. Putting his thoughts aside, Qin Yun used his observation haki to lock onto the flying pirates in No, and his domineering aura burst out silently. A breath later, Vanderdecken and his men could not bear the pressure and were knocked unconscious. Qin Yun was too lazy to go in and collect the bodies, so he directly used the power of the door to open it, and raging thunder and lightning exploded in the field. Under the paralysis of the electric current, they could not even break free of the fainting, and fell into silence forever. He took away Vanderdecken's target fruit, slapped it into the fruit, and preserved it in the storage room. Shirahoshi won without even seeing his enemy. Speaking of which, the power of the target fruit is not strong, but it is also weak. It can shake Noah and throw him out. Any creature touched by the user of the target fruit will be marked as a target. Touching another creature will directly refresh the mark, and washing hands or feet will eliminate the mark. Most people only have 2 hands and can mark 2 targets at most. The items thrown by the corresponding hand will automatically track the marked target. However, if the item is shot down or blocked by an obstacle along the way, tracking will stop. This drawback, coupled with the fact that the target must be touched with the hand, makes the ability of this fruit drop several levels. It was of no use to Qin Yun. He had the power of floating. While he was hesitating to touch it with his hands, he had already locked onto the target with his observation haki. While thinking, Qin Yun brought Baizing to the bow of Noah's ship. The power of floating spread, and Noah began to fly under his command. Shirahoshi, can you feel the power in your body? Qin Yun's question was not groundless. If Shirahoshi could awaken the ability of Poseidon earlier, it would be of great help to him. Me. Baizing closed her eyes, as if trying to find something special about herself. She frowned slightly and responded, I don't feel anything, my dear husband. Am I really useless? How is that possible? You are very useful, but I'm not qualified enough to use you now. It doesn't matter if you can't feel it. You will awaken sooner or later. There is no need to rush. Qin Yun's comfort was very effective. Baizing's brows relaxed. She didn't care about the changing scenery around her. She put her face close to Qin Yun and waited quietly for him to think. Since I can't summon sea kings, I'll try to give them orders. Qin Yun had a determined look on his face. He controlled No to circle around Fishman Island, but he did not find any trace of sea kings. It seems that just like the giant hippopotamus he fought before, there is the aura of the sea king here, and ordinary sea kings dare not approach at all. I can only wait and take Shirahoshi to the calm belt to try. As long as you are not too unlucky, you can easily find sea kings there, and many more. Can he use the white thunder to plunder the power of Poseidon, the king of the sea, from Shirahoshi? Do it as soon as you think of it. Qin Yun looked up at Baizing. His passionate eyes made Baizing shy and dared not look him in the eye. Shirahoshi, give me your hand. Ah, yes, my husband. After a brief moment of surprise, Baizing obediently extended one hand, but felt it was not enough, so she extended the other hand. Qin Yun grabbed her hand, and white thunder surged and passed to Baizing's body. After looking through it carefully, he couldn't catch anything. My dear husband, have you found anything? Qin Yun shook his head. It seemed that the ability of Aquaman could only be studied to this extent for the time being. Fishman Island, Yugu Kingdom. Jinbei finally returned to Fishman Island. He has been secretly entering and exiting Whitebeard's ship over the years, wanting to do his best to help Whitebeard. Just because Whitebeard said one sentence when Fishman Island was in danger. Fishman Island is my territory. From then on, few people dared to attack Fishman Island. At this time, Jinbei has not personally given up the position of Shichibukai, and the main members of the Sun Pirates are still on Fishman Island, which is their base. Also returning with him was the captain of the Whitebeard Pirates' 8th Division, Namor. Because they are both shark-like fishmen, his face is very similar to Jin's. Jinbei has been the boss of the Yugu Kingdom's army for many years. Which fishman wouldn't call him Boss Jinbei when seeing him? Therefore, as soon as he came back, several soldiers he was familiar with in the Dragon Palace Kingdom told him that there would be a big move tomorrow. After some inquiries, I got accurate information from the left minister that Fishman Island was actually going to submit to the rule of the divine Emperor Qin Yun. He was shocked and at a loss for words at the news because he knew so little about Qin Yun. So he couldn't wait to come to the palace to confirm the news with Neptune. But he didn't notice that Namor beside him had anger in his eyes that was about to overflow. Seeing that Namor, the captain of the Whitebeard pirates, was there, Neptune didn't want to say much, but it was impossible not to tell Jin, so he had to talk about what happened today in a roundabout way. I see. I understand your majesty's good intentions. After hearing this, Jinbei couldn't say anything against it, but he felt a little embarrassed. After all, the stability of Fishman Island over the years was largely due to Whitebeard's kindness. Although he respected the king's decision, he had to confirm whether Qin Yun was a trustworthy candidate. How can this be? Boss Jinbei. Neptune secretly thought that something was wrong because of Mir's angry tone. Fishman Island is still the territory of the Whitebeard pirates. Isn't what that kid is doing provoking my father? This Jinbei's expression froze. What Mir said made sense. He thought about it and said firmly, well, let me get to know Qin Yun first. If he really has the ability to take Fishman Island away, and his rule will not lead to atrocities, I will go and confess to my father. Otherwise, even if you don't say anything, I will stop him and expel him from Fishman Island. Mir snorted coldly without commenting. He didn't care what kind of person Qin Yun was. Since he dared to provoke the Whitebeard pirates, in his opinion he must teach Qin Yun a lesson. What's more, he once attacked Ace's hometown, forcing Ace to look for him in the Grand Line, but found nothing. Jinbei, there's no need for that. I'm not a mermaid who goes back on my word. Neptune advised helplessly. Your Majesty, there is no need to say more. Do you have that boy's phone number? Contact him and let's get in touch. Namor interrupted their conversation and said that as a weak man, Neptune's attitude was actually not that important. Chapter 70, Neptune the Cunning. No. Neptune answered decisively. Seeing the two people's suspicious expressions, he added, don't worry, there's no such thing. He came and left in a hurry, and he didn't even have time to leave his phone number. This was indeed true, but Neptune got Qin Yun's phone number from Charlie shortly after he left. Seeing this, Jinbei had no intention of asking further questions. He stood up and said goodbye, Your Majesty, if that's the case, then we will go find Qin Yun first. If he comes back, please inform me. Neptune sighed. He could not persuade these two men, one of whom was a man of firm mind and the other was angry. He could only give them some advice. No matter what, you'd better not provoke Qin Yun, otherwise you may not be able to withstand his anger. I can sense that he is tough and cruel inside. He is indifferent to life. He will do whatever it takes to get what he wants, and will mercilessly kill any enemy who stands in his way. If you intend to attack him or say something inappropriate to him, be prepared to die. Humph. You are just exaggerating. I have been a pirate for so many years, and I am not afraid of fear. After saying this, Namor turned away. Seeing this, Jinbei gave Neptune an apologetic smile and followed Namor's steps and left. When Namor saw Jinbei approaching, he couldn't help but say, Boss Jinbei, you also can't stand that kid's behavior, right? Oh, yes. Jinbei was afraid that his inner thoughts would make Namor even angrier, so he just answered casually. Namor was angry and did not understand the meaning of Jinbei's words. Thinking he was recognized, he walked more arrogantly. Neptune stood there in silence for a long time. When his observation hacky realized that both of them had left, he immediately took out a den mushy from his arms and dialed Qin Yun's number. This old man has lived for so many years and is very smart. He even lost his daughter. How could he not know which side to stand on? Bulu bulu tilde boga tilde hello, who is that? Kin Yun was currently riding a flying carpet with Shirahoshi on their way back to Fishman Island. This is Neptune. Shirahoshi, its father. Eh? How did you know my phone number? When Neptune heard Shirahoshi's voice, a smile appeared on his face. He continued, I got it from Madam. Surely Captain Jinbei is back, and with him is the captain of the Whitebeard Pirates' 8th Division, Namor. They know about the big event that will happen tomorrow. I tried to persuade them for a long time, but failed. They are already on their way to find you, that big-headed fish man. Ha tilde, just let them find it. Neptune, you made the right choice. Kin Yun's smile faded, and he handed the den mushi to Bai Xing, saying, Come on, Bai Xing, talk to your father. As soon as he said this, he felt a strange feeling in his heart. Why did he feel like he had kidnapped Neptune's daughter? Father, my lord father. Hey tilde, Neptune couldn't suppress the smile on his face. Maybe this is what it means to be a daughter slave. After chatting for a while, Shirahoshi happily handed the den mushi to Kin Yun. What they talked about was nothing more than Neptune's concern and advice to Shirahoshi, and he told her to listen carefully to Kin Yun. At the same time, they also returned to Fishman Island, and Kin Yun's observation Haki discovered Jinbei's figure, who had just come out of the Yugu Kingdom. It's getting late. It's time to take Bai Xing back to sleep. Tilde, after flying towards Xia Lai's private estate for a while, Kin Yun discovered that Jinbei and the other two were running towards him at full speed. He was not surprised because they were not very far apart, and Shirahoshi's huge body was so eye-catching that anyone who was not a fool could spot them with a glance of observation Haki. My dear husband, what happened? Bai Xing asked subconsciously when she saw the flying carpet slowing down. There are 2 small problems that need to be solved. If we don't solve them today, it will be bad if they create big trouble tomorrow. After Kin Yun responded, he began to think about the strength of Jinbei and Namor. As the captain of the 8th Division of the Whitebeard Pirates, Namor must have both colors of Haki. He killed an elite Navy soldier in seconds during the Battle of Marineford, but our specific strength is unclear. However, judging by his performance, he did not show any outstanding combat capabilities. Jin's strength is more unpredictable, and many fans have different opinions on his strength. But his strength is definitely not up to the level of the 4 emperors. Otherwise, why would he rely on others to protect the safety of Fishman Island? He could fight Ace for 5 days and 5 nights without a clear winner, was killed instantly by Hawkeye Mihawk, was shot down to the bottom of the sea, was injured by Akainu in a few moves, and used the ultimate move of Fishman Karate Takaruken to knock Big Mom away while he was thinking. Jinbei and Namor finally caught up with him. Kin Yun looked down at them indifferently. Electric Boy, I heard that you want to seize Fishman Island. Don't you know that this is the territory of the Whitebeard Pirates? Namor asked in a bad tone as soon as he came up. My goodness, this shark boy came up with a bad name for Kin Yun right away. This scared Jinbei. Why did he go to anger Kin Yun right away? Isn't this pushing Fishman Island into the fire pit? He was not on the Mobi at the time, and didn't know that Kin Yun had attacked Ace's hometown. Oh, it seems that you two are here with bad intentions, Kin Yun responded coldly. As he spoke, dazzling thunder lingered on his arms. God's judgment. A thick pillar of lightning blasted towards Namor. The dazzling lightning made the 2 shark-like fishmen who liked to live in the deep sea squint their eyes. In the blink of an eye, the lightning column hit Mer. The powerful energy exploded, bombarding and burning half of his body into a bloody mess. As a veteran fishman warrior, Namor has an extremely strong vitality. Even in such a serious injury, he can still make extremely faint moans. However, if he did not receive timely treatment, he would probably die from excessive blood loss within half an hour. Kin Yun vs Namor, kill in 1 move. Poor Namor, his arrogant attitude and momentum barely lasted for a few breaths before he lay straight down. All we can say is, if you don't have the ability to save your life, you should never be so arrogant and make enemies. Divine Emperor Kin Yun. Jinbei finally reacted. He screamed and got into position, ready for battle. When he saw Qin Yun's casual move, he knew that he was no match for Qin Yun. Haha tilde, this is the honorific you should shout out. Jinbei was confused. Why didn't he see that Muir had such a reckless personality before? He had always acted very honest before, but he was only cruel when dealing with his enemies. If he had known the result would be like this, he would never have let Muir come. After all, Jinbei is not a member of the Whitebeard pirates. His side is always with Fishman Island, and he cannot empathize with Namor. Chapter 71 Little Drama Whitebeard. My husband is so domineering, what should I do if he attacks boss? Jinbei Xing thought secretly that as Qin Yun's bedmate, it was impossible for her to have any objection to his actions, not to mention that she didn't even know Namur, one of the 7 warlords of the sea. Jinbei? Qin Yun's condescending attitude made Jinbei feel particularly uncomfortable. You are acting like this. Do you also want to have a taste of thunder and lightning? You have to think clearly. Behind you is Fishman Island. If you can't even figure out which side to stand on, I think there is no need for you to stay in Fishman Island. Upon hearing this, Jinbei hesitated for a moment and then put away his defensive posture. He understood what Qin Yun meant, whether to choose to stand with Whitebeard or to choose to be an honest citizen of Fishman Island. Seeing that Jinbei did not make a choice, Qin Yun was not in a hurry and asked indifferently, "Why did you bring this ignorant big-headed fishman to see me? Do you have the same goal as him? Do you dare to question my decision?" Jinbei looked at Namor wardly and explained, "I just heard that you want to fulfill the long-cherished dream of the mermaids and fishmen, so I wanted to come and find out if you are someone worthy of entrusting your services to me." "Oh, so what if it is? So what if it isn't? With your strength, there is no way you can stop this from happening. The future of Fishman Island will be decided by Neptune. As a former captain of the Sea King's army and now one of the 7 warlords of the sea, you have no right to distort Neptune's will." Jinbei was speechless. As a citizen of the Yugu Kingdom, as long as he had no intention of rebelling, he only needed to obey the orders from above. "Namor, stop chatting. Boss Jinbei, please save me. I can still be saved." Qin Yun snorted coldly, "If you don't want to follow Fishman Island, then take your son pirates and get out of Fishman Island. Fishman Island is Jin's home. He has protected it for many years. How could he possibly leave?" He opened his mouth and wanted to refute, but was afraid of angering the other party. After all, Qin Yun's methods were too drastic. Once provoked, he would kill the provocateur without saying a word. "Forget it, I understand." Jinbei was worried about Namor's injury and decided to treat Namor first. He jumped in front of Muir's remains, looking at his bloody body, not knowing how to start. If he made a mistake, it would most likely cause secondary injuries. Qin Yun glanced at him and said indifferently, "You don't want to save him, do you? Haha if you dare to offend the god, he is already dead. Your Excellency's methods are so cruel and fierce. You should know that Muir is Whitebeard's son. Aren't you afraid of offending Whitebeard?" "Whitebeard? Humph, he's just a dying man. Why should you be afraid?" What a big tone, threatening to kill Whitebeard. Jinbei mistakenly thought that Qin Yun was going to the New World to kill Whitebeard, and couldn't help but look at him strangely. In his opinion, the fact that Whitebeard has been known as the strongest man in the world for so many years is not comparable to that of a rookie character like Qin Yun. "Jinbei, if you don't leave Fishman Island with the members of the Sun Pirates tomorrow, you will have to work obediently under my rule. If you leave, be prepared to be wiped out." The meaning of Qin Yun's words was self-evident. Jinbei just had to be his thug obediently. If he left, he couldn't leave. The Sun Pirates will be hunted down by him the moment they leave Fishman Island, and he will not allow enemies who may become an obstacle to him to survive. "Boss Jinbei, you must not leave Fishman Island. My husband is a very good person." Shirahoshi persuaded Jinbei with tears in her eyes, and her evaluation of Qin Yun made Jinbei's mouth twitch slightly. "Princess Shirahoshi, do you really not know how terrifying Qin Yun is?" Jinbei muttered in his heart, but didn't dare to say it out loud. In just a few words, Namor was already on the verge of death. In the absence of a doctor on Fishman Island, Namor was undoubtedly doomed to die, unless the dwarf princess Mantrally was present and could save his death with her healing fruit. Qin Yun no longer looked at the two of them and urged the flying carpet to leave. Bulu bulu tilde. Bulu bulu tilde. At this moment, a rapid den mushy sound suddenly appeared. Following the direction of the sound, I found that it came from Mir's arms. Jinbei seemed to have thought of something and quickly took out a den mushy with a white beard on its face from Namor's arms. Bulu Bulu's voice became even more harsh, and Jinbei subconsciously looked at Qin Yun and asked for his opinion. Whitebeard. Answer it. Qin Yun gave the order calmly without changing his expression. Bogatilda Whitebeard, Edward Newgate. Are you calling so urgently to plead for your useless and stupid son? Qin Yun mocked expressionlessly. In fact, he had a good impression of Whitebeard, but if it were in the real world, sorry, even if the character he admires most comes in front of him and blocks his way, he will kill him without mercy. By the way, Whitebeard has a black spot. He was actually involved with Kazuki Odin, a clown who was unkind, unjust, disloyal, unfilial, and foolish. He didn't even adopt him as his son, but directly regarded Odin as a brother. Gilala tilde, what a young voice. Was my son Namor attacked by you? Where did you come from, little devil? Whitebeard's domineering and charming voice rang out, causing Jin's heart to tremble. It turned out that it was Namor's life card that burned instantly, which attracted Marco's attention. Marco holds several positions. He is the captain of the Whitebeard Pirates' 1st Division, the ship's doctor, and he also holds the life cards of the Whitebeard Pirates' captains. Want to know? Haha, you will know, but not now. Don't worry, we will meet soon. As soon as he finished speaking, Qin Yun snapped his fingers, and the den mushy that looked like Whitebeard exploded. It was just a little teasing, just an appetizer. He glanced at Jinbei, who was about to speak, but did not comment. He moved his mind and drove the flying carpet towards Shirley's private estate. The captain of the 8th Division of the Whitebeard Pirates, Namor, die. At the same time, on an island far away in the New World, the Whitebeard Pirates are stationed there. Looking at the busy tone of den mushy, the members of the Whitebeard Pirates fell into a long silence. Now no one dared to speak out and offend the angry Whitebeard. Cough cough. Whitebeard's violent coughing made everyone look worried, and the nurses rushed forward to relieve his pain. After easing up for a while, Whitebeard gave an order. Marco, investigate who attacked Namor. Yes, Dad. Marco's brows were furrowed the entire time. In the past few months, the Whitebeard Pirates had encountered so many accidents that he felt a strong sense of uneasiness in his heart. Chapter 72 transformed into a mermaid. First, Ace searched for the God Emperor Qin Yun in vain, and had no choice but to return to the Whitebeard Pirates. After fighting with a certain pirate group, Marshal D. Teach actually killed the captain of the 4th Division, Thatch, for a devil fruit. After escaping from the Whitebeard Pirates, he actually called himself Blackbeard, which was undoubtedly a provocation to his father Whitebeard. You know, the only rule of the Whitebeard Pirates is that they are not allowed to kill their companions. All of Teach's actions violated their bottom line. After learning this, Ace started chasing Teach despite Whitebeard's obstruction. What he fears most now is in the chase between Ace and Teach, who is the hunter and who is the prey. There was no sign of Namor's death today. He noticed it the moment he felt the life card burning, but it was too late. I don't know if Jinbei, who was traveling with Namor, knew the cause of his death. I have to ask him. Fishman Island, Coral Hill. The night is alluring, but the mermaid's passionate whispers are even more alluring. Qin Yun and Bai Xing returned to Zia Lai's private manor. As soon as they came in, they were warmly welcomed by mermaids such as Ishili, Sira, and Mello. This imperial treatment was like he was back home at the Sky Island Shrine, enjoying the embrace of Nami, Robin, Perona, and other goddesses. After a burst of laughter, Everyone came to the hall on the first floor of the manor to continue laughing and playing. After the mermaids learned that Zialai had told Qin Yun about the mermaid tribe in the mermaid cafe, they urged Zialai to continue telling the story. Charlie couldn't resist the expectant looks of the mermaids, so she had no choice but to hand over the contents of her box to them. Qin Yun lay on Baizing and listened with great interest, while Baizing's face was full of disbelief, as if his entire outlook on life had suffered a huge impact. Everyone learned a lot. For example, mermaids belong to the human species and are mammals that give birth to live young, so Qin Yun can have children with the beautiful mermaids. The children born may be human males, merman males, human females, or merman females, but no mermen. Mermen can only be born from the offspring of mermen and various races. I also learned how mermaids excrete. I learned about the body structure of mermaids. Their upper bodies are basically the same as humans, but their lower bodies are very different. On their beautiful fish tails, there is indescribable knowledge. In the final analysis, it comes down to one sentence. Qin Yun can make them give birth to his good babies before their fish tails turn into legs. Of course, after the mermaids turn their tails into legs after they turn 30, they can also turn back into fish tails at any time. It seems that Granny Kokoro has used this skill to rescue the protagonists. Qin Yun, who knew all this, had a bold idea: can humans transform into mermaids through devil fruits, bloodline factors, and other means? Eh? You said Qin Yun's bold idea wasn't this? How is that possible? Don't speculate. As a god of noble character, he quickly dispelled the thoughts in his mind. After taking a final glance at the little white star with wide eyes, shocked face, blushing and helpless, he chuckled, and his soul wandered away in interest, chasing sweet dreams. The next morning, Qin Yun suddenly felt his nose itchy. After he wrinkled his nose, it became even more itchy. He frowned and slowly woke up. What caught my eye was Milo's soft fish ale and her pretty face. Good on you, Milo. You're playing tricks on me so early in the morning. He stood up and looked, only to find that the mermaids had gathered around him and were playing and fighting. Baizing lowered her head, looking at him expectantly, while Zialai was sitting in the distance, drinking hot fragrant tea. Lord Qin Yun, it will be time for His Majesty Neptune to summon the people soon. It's time to get up and have dinner. Yishali's gentle and royal sisterly voice cheered Qin Yun up. He nodded in response, bounced off the trampoline, and then jumped onto the dining table in the middle of the hall amid Shirahoshi's exclamations. Without waiting for his orders, the mermaids rushed to surround him and offered him delicious cakes and snacks. Because Sierra and Sora were closer to the dining table, they took the first seats on both sides of him. Their proud little eyes made the other mermaids curl their lips in disdain. After having a good meal and tea, the mermaids changed Qin Yun into a white dragon robe with gold thread and fish patterns. As for the previous clothes, it had been damaged in the previous battle. Qin Yun flew to Baizing's rosy face and said softly, "Baizing, just play with these mermaid sisters here. I'll be back in a while." "Yes, my dear husband." Baizing blushed after she said that. She spoke very little after she came back yesterday because she was afraid that she would be laughed at by the mermaid sisters if she called Qin Yun my dear husband. As expected, the mermaid sisters looked at her with a teasing look. Shirahoshi thought so herself. Woo. I really want to get back into bed for a while. Qin Yun did not try to probe her inner thoughts. Even if he knew, he would not say anything. One has to practice to become thick-skinned and not care about other people's eyes. He smiled knowingly, walked forward and gently kissed Baizing's beautiful forehead, then flew towards Zialai, but unexpectedly, Baizing's cheeks became even redder, as if invisible steam was coming out of it. Baizing shook her tail awkwardly, muttering to herself, "When can I be like my husband and remain calm in front of so many people? Let's go, my lady Zialai. As a great prophet, you can tell the people of Fishman Island about their future destination." Qin Yun stretched out his right hand, ready to welcome Zialai's embrace. Zialai nodded gently, and under the expectant eyes of the mermaids, she hooked Qin Yun's arm. Qin Yun didn't care about her disobedience and took her directly to the outside of the manor. A flying carpet appeared, and they flew to Gyrecord Square on the flying carpet. At the same time, he released his observation haki and scanned the Fishman Island. Jinbei and his son pirates did not leave, but also came to Gyrecord Square to wait for Qin Yun's arrival. It seems that he made the right choice. But why is he carrying a knife on his back? I haven't seen him use it in one piece after a night of hard work. Jinbei and the Sun Pirates wiped out all the pirates on Fishman Island. During the flight, Qin Yun stroked Mrs. Shirley's shark tail and thought of the mermaid's love for him. This kind of love and warmth that transcends races and body types is so addictive and uplifting. Chapter 73. The day is finally coming. Is he a pervert? Qin Yun thinks he is not. Is there any warrior who shares the same aspirations as him? The Gyrecord Plaza was already filled with merpeople and fishmen, who were talking quietly and secretly guessing what the big event would be today that would change the future of Fishman Island. I remember the last time the palace was so crowded was the day Princess Odoheim was assassinated while giving a speech. There were also quite a few Sea King soldiers on the scene, and they worked diligently to maintain order at the scene. Neptune, the left minister, the right minister, and other officials sat on the podium. Among the princes, only Sharkstar came. He was mature and steady and would not do anything out of line, but the other two princes were confined to the palace for fear that they would have a seizure. Charlie's figure on the flying carpet attracted attention. Neptune and others stood up to greet her. An invisible pressure enveloped the whole place, and the people of Fishman Island fell silent in an instant. Finally, the flying carpet stopped behind Neptune's head. Qin Yun glanced around expressionlessly and said coldly, "Neptune, let's start." Upon hearing this, Neptune sighed softly. Facing the countless people of Fishman Island, he was suddenly stunned. Power, wealth, family, people. During his more than 20 years of rule, he seemed to only care about his family. It seems that he is really not suitable to be a king. It is time to abdicate. Neptune's expression was determined, and with the help of the loudspeaker Den Den Mushi, his voice was clearly heard by every citizen present. Everyone on Fishman Island, today, I, Neptune, am honored to tell you that whether it is the sunshine that the mermaids want to bask in all the time, or the air that the fishmen want to breathe, today, we will fulfill everyone's long-cherished wish. When these words were spoken, the people who were unaware of the situation were in an uproar. Neptune, what do you mean by that? Sunlight? Air? Are we heading for land? It will start a war. The humans on Earth won't let us survive on land so easily. Countless voices came from all directions, some questioning, some supporting, some incredulous, and even some mermaids sang lament silence. Listen to what His Majesty has to say. The right minister held a long sword that looked like a trident in his right hand and slammed it hard on the ground, and the sound in the field gradually dissipated. Seeing this, Neptune continued, "These are all Madame Zeolai's prophecies. At the same time, I will also respond to the prophecy and resign my throne as king. Fishman Island will become a part of the kingdom of God, and we will be under the rule of the Lord God of the kingdom of God, God Qin Yun." After saying these words, his expression became extremely decadent, as if he had aged 10 years out of thin air. What? It's Madame Shirley's language. The people on the scene were talking about it, but when they heard the name of Madame Zeolai, no one questioned it. After the people reacted for a while, Qin Yun nodded and Madame Zeolai stepped forward and shouted, "Don't panic, the future of Fishman Island is bright. As long as we follow the development of the prophecy and listen to the will of God Qin Yun, we will also have a bright future." After hearing Mrs. Charlie's speech, the people immediately breathed a sigh of relief. What they were most concerned about were the issues of life and food. As long as there were no major problems in these two aspects, they would feel at ease. Go, before the sun rises high, and return to your house to escape any possible danger. This moment is the day that will finally come. As soon as Zilai finished speaking, the field erupted in earth-shaking cheers. The sound was so loud that even the double-layer bubble membrane outside Fishman Island was shaken slightly. As a result, Qin Yun's men had a surge in troops of about hundreds of thousands and millions totaling less than 5 million. Their physical strength and power are inherently stronger than those of ordinary humans, but most of them are lazy and don't like to train their bodies, or maybe they have low talent, resulting in very few strong mermaids and fishmen. However, this is enough. Whether it is mining, transportation, construction, and other national tasks, they are good tools. The crowd receded like the tide, but there were always fishmen swimming against the tide. Jinbei left the Sun Pirates behind and jumped to Neptune's side. He nodded and greeted the people around him, then said in a gentle voice, "Qin Lord God, could you please move aside and listen to what I have to say?" Qin Yun had long noticed that his eyes were wandering and wanted to talk to him. There seemed to be a tragic melody under his fat back. He frowned slightly and responded calmly, "Yes, follow me." With a thought, he controlled the flying carpet to fly forward. Just when it was 3 steps above Jinbei's head, the flying carpet rushed into the different space. Jinbei, Neptune, and the others suddenly opened their mouths wide, their eyes full of astonishment. "What kind of strange ability is this, Boss Jinbei?" Shirley's voice came from the deep green void. Jinbei came to his senses and jumped in tentatively with doubt. The door to the other dimension closed immediately. Jinbei staggered as he felt the touch of a solid entity beneath his feet. He quickly steadied himself and wiped the cold sweat from his head. He walked up to Zilai and Qin Yun and asked in confusion, "What is this? No need to waste time. What do you want to talk to me about?" Qin Yun would not explain to everyone, so he just asked about divine power. Jinbei's expression froze, and he had to get to the point. "I received a call from Phoenix Marco last night, asking me who was the culprit who killed Namuro." "What did you say?" Qin Yun didn't care at all whether Whitebeard knew that he was the murderer. He didn't tell him before just because he wanted to piss him off. Maybe he could make Whitebeard lose some of his condition. "I just said I don't know." Jinbei's eyes were extremely firm, but Whitebeard did a favor to Fishman Island after all. "I am ashamed to face my own heart for doing this." As he spoke, he drew out the big knife from his back and shouted, "Please allow me to cut off one of my arms as an apology for lying to Whitebeard." As a sea knight, Jinbei is labeled as a chivalrous man. Lying to Whitebeard, who had done him a favor, is unjust. Telling the truth is like stabbing Qin Yun in the back. He originally wanted to cut off his arm to make amends, but now his identity is a citizen of Fishman Island, and logically he would be controlled by Qin Yun. If his arm were broken, his combat power would inevitably decline, and at that time, it might draw Qin Yun's wrath. "Haha, please allow me." Qin Yun probably guessed what Jinbei meant. He wanted to leave him a damaged version of Jinbei's fighter. "How about this, Jinbei? You can cut off a few fingers first. As for the broken arm, let's wait for 3 years. By then, even if you want to die, I won't care about you." Chapter 74 Shocking Change. This Jinbei was stunned. Cut off the fingers first to make amends, and then postpone cutting off the arm? "Okay, it's decided." Qin Yun waved his hand to signal him to leave. "Mr. Qin Yun snorted coldly, and his domineering aura surged out, ruthlessly washing away Jinbei's will, but he did not faint. After all, he was one of the 7 warlords of the sea and could withstand the existence of Big Mom's soul spell. "I'm not negotiating with you. Remember your identity. Jinbei. Behind you is Fishman Island." The next moment, a circular door to another dimension appeared under Jinbei's feet, causing him to fall out of the dimension unexpectedly. He landed steadily on the ground and sighed in frustration. Things had developed to this point, so he had no choice but to obey Qin Yun. After a moment's silence, he suddenly raised the big knife in his hand and chopped at the fingers of his left hand expressionlessly. Whoosh! The knife flashed, and 5 fingers were broken. Due to the different forces, they shot out in different directions. Jinbei-sama, captain. The people in the distance had been watching Jinbei, and when he chopped off their fingers for the first time, they subconsciously screamed in surprise. The next moment, Jinbei's hand, which only had one palm left, began to spurt blood. His fingers were connected to his heart, and he began to frown because of the severe pain, but he didn't say a word. Everyone had gathered around, staring at his bloody left hand in bewilderment. At this moment, Aladdin, the ship's doctor and vice-captain of the Sun Pirates, put aside the medical equipment that had been prepared long ago and began to treat Jinbei's injuries. "Don't panic, I just want to test whether the blade is sharp or not." The unaware people were bewildered and shocked. Neptune and Aladdin, who knew the truth, sighed quietly and said nothing more. Time passed slowly, and soon the sun was high in the sky. After Qin Yun brought Zia Lai back to her private estate, she played with the mermaids until lunch was over. The time had come. He broke free from Zia Lai's arms, turned into lightning, and disappeared on the spot. When he appeared again, he had already arrived at the observation room of the Yugu Kingdom, where he could clearly observe the scene outside Fishman Island through layers of barriers. As Qin Yun moved his mind, the entire Fishman Island began to rise slowly, moving in the direction indicated by the permanent pointer of Thunder God Island. Behind Fishman Island, Noah's Ark followed closely. "Now that we are here, this big ship can be considered a trophy, so of course we have to take it away." The journey was peaceful, but as they were getting farther and farther away from the Sun Tree Eve, the people of Fishman Island felt deeply that the sunlight was gradually disappearing and they were falling into endless darkness. After ascending about 3,000 meters, the area around Fishman Island suddenly became bright. This unexpected change made Qin Yun frown. He had very sharp eyesight and discovered that a sea king that looked like a lanternfish appeared around Fishman Island. Could it be the lanternfish that ate the island where Olga lived and liked to collect pure gold? As if to deny his guess, the sea king with the lantern suddenly emitted an even brighter light. Now, everyone can see clearly the current situation of Fishman Island. They were actually surrounded by more than a dozen sea kings over 5,000 meters long. Could it be that they can sense the movements of Shirahoshi or Fishman Island? God, my Lord God! What should we do? The Sea King army standing by had never seen such a scene before. They trembled and asked Qin Yun's will. No need to panic. Qin Yun's expression remained unchanged. With Shirahoshi's presence, it was impossible for them to attack Fishman Island. How come Fishman Island appears here? The time has not come yet. Why is our mermaid princess leaving the sea? Wait. The opportunity seems to be in these few years. Did we miscalculate hundreds of years ago our oath boat? How come it also took off? Some were sharp, some were hoarse, some were honest. Dozens of voices came from nowhere and slowly entered Qin Yun's mind. At this moment he seemed to understand something. He hesitated for a moment, then controlled Fishman Island to continue floating upwards. After floating another 1,000 meters, the Sea Kings could no longer hold back. Their noisy and chaotic conversations flooded into Qin Yun's mind. Although I don't know why Fishman Island left. Anyway, let it go back first. As soon as these words were spoken, the Sea Kings reached a consensus and rushed forward to bite Fishman Island and Noah, dragging them to the original location of Fishman Island. More than a dozen Sea Kings exerting force at the same time. What a tremendous force! Fishman Island and Noah stopped floating upwards in an instant, standing still and not moving, fighting with Qin Yun for control of the two. After only half a breath of stalemate, Fishman Island and Noah began to sink. Qin Yun's lightning flashed and he appeared on Fishman Island. With the blessing of electric current, he shouted loudly, "Everyone, let go of Fishman Island." After he finished speaking, the Sea Kings instinctively paused for a moment, then let go of Fishman Island and Noah and looked towards the tiny Qin Yun. The noisy discussion began again, and Qin Yun hurriedly continued to shout, "This is the order from the mermaid princess. She is leaving the sea and heading to a height of 10,000 meters. What a terrifying, or is he human? Human, we did not receive any orders from the mermaid princess. You do not have the authority to convey the order. Then you guys wait for a moment, I'll find the mermaid princess. You can actually understand what I am saying. The Sea Kings were silent for a long time, and finally shouted in unison, "Go." Qin Yun did not hesitate. He flashed several times and returned to Zilai's private estate. After a brief explanation, he took Shirahoshi on a flying carpet to the sea above Fishman Island. Shirahoshi, tell them that you want to leave the sea and let them know. Ask them first how to awaken the power of Poseidon, the king of the sea. Qin Yun reacted instantly. This was a rare opportunity. Yes, my lord husband. After Shirahoshi responded softly, she timidly looked at the dozen or so Sea Kings. For some reason, she could actually feel a friendly feeling from them. She followed Qin Yun's request and cried out in a tender voice, "Master Sea King, how can I awaken the power of Poseidon, the Sea King?" The little mermaid awakening the power of Poseidon, the Sea King. We are not the Sea King. How would we know? Just be perfunctory. What are you talking about? The mermaid princess heard it all. Hearing these words, Qin Yun felt a frown on his face. How come these Sea Kings don't know this and still have such erratic personalities? Shirahoshi burst out laughing, thinking they were extremely funny. Wow, you will know once the princess grows up. Qin Yun twitched the corner of his mouth. It seemed that he could not get this information from the Sea Kings, or this method was true, and he just had to wait for Shirahoshi to grow up. Chapter 75 Milk Sister Moda. He waved his hand helplessly and said, "Shirahoshi, tell them that you are leaving the sea. Ask them to help send Fishman Island and Noah to the sea, and then leave a Sea King to follow the sea area near Fishman Island. Limited to mounts for Sea Kings above 5,000 meters. Don't waste it. If she lets one follow her all the time, even if Shirahoshi cannot awaken the ability to summon Sea Kings for the time being, she can still command them." Bai Xing nodded and conveyed Qin Yun's meaning in a soft voice. The Sea Kings responded and rushed to the sea with Fishman Island and Noah. Seeing this, Qin Yun immediately took Shirahoshi back to Fishman Island. After a while, more than a dozen Sea Kings rushed out of the sea, and Fishman Island and Noah were pushed above their heads. This kind of scene often occurs in the doldrums, but it is very rare in this turbulent new world. Unfortunately, only the people of Fishman Island are lucky enough to enjoy such a spectacular scene. Because Qin Yun was controlling the Fishman Island to float upward at an angle, the location of the Fishman Island was now far away from the red soil continent and appeared in the sea near the Thunder God Island. "Goodbye, big guys Sea Kings." After letting Shirahoshi say goodbye to the Sea Kings, Qin Yun continued the relay, allowing Fishman Island and Noah to rise to an altitude of 7,000 meters above the White Sea before stopping temporarily. After Fishman Island left the bottom of the sea, all the Navy and pirates who wanted to go to the New World through Fishman Island lost a temporary place to stay on the seabed. This means that if they want to reach the New World from the bottom of the sea, their death index will increase by more than one level. Not only that, they also have to prepare the record pointers needed for the New World in the Sabayati archipelago in advance in order to sail smoothly. Who will be the first to discover the departure of Fishman Island? They will die if they are not prepared. After settling everyone, Qin Yun played with the mermaids in Zilai's private estate for 2 more days before heading to Thunder God Island with great satisfaction. As a user of the Thunder Fruit, Thunder God Island is a must-visit place. What if he finds something that can help him improve his strength? Unfortunately, he walked around Thunder God Island several times but didn't find anything special. He even took the initiative to absorb some thunder, but it was useless. He originally thought that there would be some place like inheritance like in the fantasy world, but in the end he found nothing. It seemed that he was just daydreaming. However, the temporary failure did not have any impact on Qin Yun. According to his plan, he crossed the red soil continent from the calm belt on the left side of the New World and flew back to the Sky Island. Not long after he flew across the red Earth continent, an island in the sea attracted his attention. This place is close to the holy land of Marijoa. Speaking of this, he instantly thought of the kingdom of Lulusha. This is a country that was destroyed by him using the ancient weapons driven by the Mother Fire developed by Vegapunk after the World Conference ended 2 years later. This was also the place where Below Betty, the commander of the Eastern Army of the Revolutionary Army, and 3 other commanders passed by before the World Conference began. They killed the Peachbeard pirates who were looting at the time and saved Milk's sister Moda. Unfortunately, it's still early. The Revolutionary Army is elusive, rarely appears, so it will take some time to find Below Betty and Kurla. However, he was able to capture a Milk sister Moda. No, it's salvation. This would save her from joining the Revolutionary Army out of sadness because of the destruction of her country and the loss of her family. Next, it depends on whether this island is the territory of the kingdom of Lulusha. Lightning flashed several times and Kin Yun appeared at the largest port on the island. The sounds of shouting, unloading, and hawking are mixed together, but it does not make people feel irritated. Without paying attention to the frightened expressions of the people around him, he randomly picked a lucky person on the street and glanced at the lucky person with indifferent eyes. The person felt as if his heart was being pinched by someone's hand and was so nervous that he could hardly breathe. "Where is this place?" the man blurted out subconsciously. "Astana Port." "I mean, what country is this?" "Lulusha Kingdom." Kin Yun nodded. People would subconsciously say what they think the answer is, which is harmless. Now that it has been confirmed that it is the kingdom of Lulusha, Moda will not be able to escape his clutches. As soon as he thought about it, his observation haki instantly enveloped the kingdom of Lulusha, carefully searching the small cattle farm and Moda. After a while, he finally found Moda by a stream. Without hesitation, he immediately released lightning and disappeared on the spot. Only the lucky guy was left lying on the ground, gasping for breath along with the people around him who had escaped death. At this time, Moda was wearing a cow hat, squinting her eyes with a sad look, hugging her calves, curled up against a big tree, looking like a poor girl who had just cried. Next to her is a milk bottle that she never leaves behind. It is large enough to cover her upper body and is an important thing that she relies on for survival. Just as she was staring blankly at the stream in the distance, light blue lightning gathered in front of her, and Kin Yun emerged from it. The sudden appearance of the second person interrupted Moda's thoughts. She quickly composed herself and looked at Kin Yun timidly. "Don't be afraid, I'm not a good person." Hearing Kin Yun's comfort, Moda became even more frightened and pretended to be calm and said softly, "I am not afraid. My name is God Kin Yun. What's your name?" "My name is Moda." Moda had been living in this small town that was rarely invaded by pirates. Where had she seen anyone who could fly? When she heard the last name of Shen, she really thought that the other person was a god. Kin Yun nodded, as long as he had found the right person. Her secret sadness here gave him an opportunity to start a conversation. "I saw you in heaven, feeling sad and alone. I was afraid you would drown yourself." After explaining the reason, Kin Yun began to talk about the strategy in a familiar manner. "If you keep the unpleasant things in your heart for too long, you will get sick. At that time, your parents will also be sad. If you don't mind, why not confide in a stranger like me?" Parents. When Moda heard these 2 words, she felt even more upset. How could the other party hit her sore spot at once? "Thank you for your concern. My parents seem to have abandoned me. We haven't seen each other for several years. Even if I get sick, no one will be sad." "What?" Kin Yun frowned. He remembered that when Moda reunited with her parents, both sides seemed very happy. How could they abandon her? Is there some hidden story? However, this is only what is mentioned on the cover page of the comic, and the amount of information conveyed is indeed not enough for him to understand the full picture. Moda, a girl with long golden hair who sells milk for a living. She is kind, cute, sincere, and brave. Because she sells milk, she tilde. Chapter 76 and quot Abducting and quot. the lovely Moda. They didn't meet, which meant that Ace hadn't accidentally come here while chasing Blackbeard, or in other words, Ace couldn't come here because of the butterfly effect because he was looking for him. As long as Kinyan starts with her parents, he can easily win Moda's heart. How could it be you look like a well-behaved and sensible girl? I can't imagine what kind of person would have the heart to abandon such a lovely person like you. Thank you. Moda felt Kinyan's kindness and gradually relaxed. Moda, have you been here alone all these years? Moda nodded and picked up the milk bottle beside her somewhat embarrassedly. Will he think I'm pretending to be pitiful? After a breath of silence, Kinyan flew in front of Moda, half knelt down, put away his unattainable and domineering attitude, and with his handsome face, he seemed gentle and approachable, making Moda more easily let down her guard. You have been waiting for your parents to return all these years. You have to work hard for a living at such a young age. It is very painful, right? But it is all over now. Moda, come with me. From now on, I will be your family. Ah. A hint of surprise and emotion flashed in Moda's eyes, but she lowered her head in inferiority. But, is it really possible? I will become a burden to others. Kinyan chuckled. I am the god and emperor of a country. I can support millions of you. Thinking that such a self-reliant person would not be used to accepting the kindness of others, he added, if you feel bad about it, you can be my secretary and do things for me, like helping me deal with the troubles in my life. I? But I'm afraid. What if my parents come back and can't find me? They'll be sad. What should I do? Hey, do you know where your parents went? Yes, they said before they left that they were going to work at the Navy GL 2nd Branch Base, and they also said they would send living expenses and letters home every month, but after they sent it twice, I never heard from them again. At this point, Moda's eyes welled up with tears, but she had lived alone and strong for many years and no longer cried easily. Suddenly, she had an idea and looked at Kinyan with expectant eyes. I see that you can fly. Are you really a god? If he is really a god, he must be able to let me see my parents. Just let me see them once. Kinyan smiled slightly and said frankly, you will know it later. Let's go. Tonight, you can meet your parents. Moda's eyes lit up. She was just a pretty girl from an ordinary small town. The other party was obviously of noble status, so there was no need to deceive her. The next moment, a sweet milky aroma rushed into Kinyan's nostrils, and his cheeks felt soft and warm for a moment. It turned out that Moda excitedly threw herself on him and gave him a kiss of gratitude. Even the bottle of milk in her hand was ruthlessly thrown aside. Kinyan took advantage of the situation and lifted Moda up by the back, making her want to run away shyly but bury her head in his arms awkwardly. Moda, where is your home? Hearing the question, Moda raised her head despite her shyness, struggled for a while, and seeing that it was useless, she muttered softly, Brother Shen, put me down. I will take you there. Just point out a direction and I'll take you there. This Moda turned around awkwardly and continued to mutter, but I haven't taken my milk bottle yet. Look behind. What is this? When Moda saw this, she realized that she was doomed and could not escape. Her milk bottle flew over their heads under Kinyan's floating power. Wu Tilda, she gave up, raised her hand and pointed in a direction before continuing to bury her head in her arms. Kinyan didn't make things difficult for her anymore. He lifted her up and carried her away in a princess hug. They hadn't flown far when they arrived at a small cattle farm. Well, with Moda's speed, she couldn't run very far. After landing next to a small house, Kinyan asked, Moda, do you have photos of your parents? Yes, Tilda, in the house. Kinyan nodded, pushed the door open sideways, stretched out his arms, and carried her into the cabin. He took a quick look and saw that Moda's cottage consisted of a living room and a bedroom, with a very simple layout. In other words, there was no money and no things. However, the cottage was very clean. Although she lived alone, she made the cottage very warm. Perhaps this could comfort her lonely heart. Moda's parents are really carefree. As parents, they go out to work and leave a little girl alone at home to look after the cattle farm. They are really not afraid of any accidents. After Kin Yun put Moda down, she followed her to the bedroom. She took a photo from the bedside, which was a photo of her and her parents. The photo is very clean and you can tell that she wipes it regularly. Brother Shen, I found it. Moda held the photo in both hands to show it. This photo was taken by her parents at a cost of money because they were afraid that she would miss them too much. Kin Yun looked up and saw that Moda's parents looked like ordinary, honest people. Because there was no stool in Moda's house, he sat with Moda on the bed. The bed was also very small, and his tall body took up most of the bed, and he sat tightly against Moda. Moda's hopeful eyes made Kin Yun smile knowingly. He pinched Moda's little face, then took out a den mushy from the storage room and called Shira in front of her. Moda was extremely envious of this ability to take things out of thin air. She thought to herself, it would be great if I were also a god. I wonder what the child I would have with my brother would look like. After sending the photo, Kin Yun calmly ordered, Zira, you and several other priests will lead the God's Guard to the Navy GL second branch base and bring the couple in the picture back to the Kingdom of God. The base of the second branch of the Navy GL was not far to the northeast of the Kingdom of Lulusha. Moda's parents worked in the Navy cafeteria, so it was easy to find them. Vice Admiral Gumir of the Marine branch is the commander of the base there. He is a veteran double-sword swordsman who believes in a calm and unhurried approach to justice. However, he is too old now, and Shira and the others are enough to easily deal with such an elderly lieutenant general. Garp, Crane, come find me if you dare. Everything was arranged properly, and Moda's happiness was written all over her face. She knew that she had no way to repay Kin Yun, so she could only give him another sweet, milky kiss as a thank you. Kin Yun gladly accepted it, and after savoring its sweetness for a while, he got down to business. Pio earth dragon tumbling. He lifted Moda's dairy farm off the ground and flew towards the Sky Island. Milk is a good thing. There is a strange setting in this world. If you have broken teeth, broken bones, or fractured bones, just drink a glass of milk. This is the best milk. Chapter 77 Emperor Level Power. Moda looked at him with even more admiration, her little eyes filled with shining little stars. Kin Yun raised his lips slightly and continued to do what he had not finished just now, chatting with his sweet sister Moda till the time passed by little, and Kin Yun deliberately slowed down his pace on the way back just to enjoy a little time with Moda. With Moda's immense worship of him as a god and the fulfillment of her wish to meet her parents, she vowed to serve him for life. Kin Yun couldn't bear to reject her initiative. After all, although Moda had a strong character, she was still an inferior girl due to the lack of parental love. Therefore, he gladly accepted Moda's declaration of service and granted her the status of goddess. Looking at Moda's happy and satisfied smile, Kin Yun knew that his choice was right. If he doesn't cherish such a beautiful and lovely sister, he deserves to be struck by lightning. As a lightning man, being struck by 5 thunderbolts must be a heavy punishment, right? After an unknown amount of time, Kin Yun finally brought Moda back to Sky Island. After not seeing each other for a few days, the first stop was of course to go back to the shrine. My Lord God! The angels in the temple were as obedient and polite as ever. Kin Yun smiled and nodded, saying, Go get some clothes for Moda. You can keep the characteristics of her clothes. Find a headscarf with black and white cow spots, and a secretary's uniform that is convenient for work. Yes, Lord Kami. It was obvious who Moda was. The angels came forward, surrounded her, and measured her size while she was at a loss. Kin Yun glanced at him casually. He is actually an emperor-level expert. There is still a certain gap between him and Nami, but as long as his strength is not too weak, it is very good. Moda's face turned red. She noticed Kin Yun's little movements and shyly grasped the corner of her clothes, a little afraid that Kin Yun would dislike her. The girl's blushing face is the best love expression. Kin Yun chuckled, took her into his arms, waved his hand to signal the angels to retreat, and took her into the temple. It is worth mentioning that as Qin Yun had more and more concubines, and people of the level of concubines began to fill in, the original palace was no longer sufficient. Therefore, he chose an island as the Jingu Island early on and asked the god's construction team to build a magnificent palace for him. The construction speed of the extraordinary world was beyond imagination, and they completed it very quickly. In this way, the goddess he captured later would also have a courtyard of her own. The temple he was about to enter was the temple where he lived. Back to the topic, as soon as Qin Yun and Moda walked in, cheers of joy were heard from both sides. Aoni-chan God Sama. The next moment, several girls rushed to his side, along with Moda, and surrounded him tightly, hugging him tightly. The fragrance of the girls wafted into his nostrils, and Qin Yun couldn't suppress a smile on his face. He spread his arms and hugged them. He had already noticed the excited breathing inside, and the scene was exactly what he expected. "Well, Tilda brother, you are so dishonest," Nami complained but did not leave his side. Wei and Canis responded with giggles and jokes. "It's only been a few days, and you miss me so much." The question was raised, but no one answered the goddesses around. It's impossible to answer, otherwise it will be troublesome to be teased in the future. After a while, Qin Yun let them go and began to hug them one by one. Nami was passionate and enthusiastic. She even turned into mist and got close to him, whispering brother tilde in his ear. Helena and Nami are equally beautiful and each has their own characteristics. She has long hair flowing down, and her beauty does not seem like that of a human being. Qin Yun could not help but hug her for a while longer. Wei hooked her arms around his neck, her affectionate eyes filled with love that could not be concealed. Now, she had received a gift from Qin Yun and obtained the power of the sand fruit after capturing Perona, and she was developing the fruit abilities with Nami all day long. Canis was petite and cute. She traced a few strokes on his chest with her slender jade fingers, as if hinting at something. As the first consort of God, she had extremely special meaning to Qin Yun. There's even Perona. These goddesses are all enthusiastic and lively, no wonder they came to attack him. Perona was wearing a beautiful Gothic Lolita dress and looked relaxed. Although he has only recently joined the Jingu family, he seems to get along well with Nami and the others. Perona lowered her head somewhat embarrassedly as he kept staring at her. Qin Yun saw this and quickly hugged her in his arms, leaning close to her ear and whispering softly, "Stay in my temple today and chat with me." Perona responded softly, her ears turning pink due to Qin Yun's actions. Qin Yun let go of Perona and asked casually, "Where are the others? Are they in the shrine? I was the first one to discover you, so I called so many people to ambush you." Nami puffed out her chest proudly. With such powerful powers, she knew everything about the movements of the goddess and her concubines. Sister Robin was reading in your bedroom before. Now she should be drinking tea and chatting with Porkai, Nachiko, Masita, Marianu, Kaya, Makino, Califo, Jessica, and Kobat in a palace. Sister Tina, Tashiki, and Laki are training the Angel God team on Angel Island. Qin Yun nodded. Robin's group generally belonged to the type who knew how to enjoy themselves and liked to relax. However, how did Khalifa get in there? Did Robin bring her up here because he was afraid that she would be bored? Most of the members in Nami's group are lively and cute. When they have nothing to do, they play on Jingu Island or even outside Sky Island. With the help of Nami and others, Qin Yun and Moda were brought into a swimming pool inside the temple. After they chatted together for a while, the angels arrived with some clothes. Qin Yun greeted Moda, who was playing with the girls in the swimming pool. Her clothes were already damaged when she arrived. It's just that they were chatting in the house when they flew to the Sky Island, so they didn't have time to change her clothes into good ones. Moda looked at these gorgeous clothes and was at a loss. Qin Yun had no choice but to choose a professional suit from them. The patterns and various strange designs on it made Moda feel extremely shy. She muttered to herself, "If I had known earlier, I would have just picked one at random." At this point, she had no choice but to put on the black and white hollow professional suit in the changing room on the side with the help of the angels. After Moda came out, she instantly attracted Qin Yun's attention. His eyes lit up and he praised her outfit highly, saying that her figure and appearance were even better. Chapter 78: The Legend of Askaka Island. Moda's clothes. For easy context, all I can say is, clothes make the man and saddles make the horse. Moda was wearing a small and delicate milk hat, with her golden hair casually falling on her shoulders and back, a long white shirt on her upper body and a tight black hip skirt on her lower body. The most important thing is the black stockings that wrap the jade legs and the shiny black high heels that hold the jade feet. If I had to give a comment, it would only be perfect. Of course, there was not a trace of evil in Qin Yun's eyes towards this cute little girl. Can anyone believe it? Only endless love. So, he waved his hand, and Moda cried out and threw herself into his arms, chatting with him for a while about what clothes to wear in the future. After a long time, other goddesses who seemed to have received the news of his return also came to the swimming pool in the temple. After giving each other hugs after not seeing each other for a few days, the goddesses and concubines were having a great time in the swimming pool and outside. Qin Yun enjoyed contentedly all the joy they brought him. Isn't this kind of lively reunion scene and this feeling of being surrounded by so many goddesses exactly what he wants? No exclamation, not enough. Qin Yun's greed will never be satisfied. After getting Robin, he wants Nami. After getting Nami, he wants Shirahoshi, and Hancock. Desires are hard to satisfy, especially Qin Yun. Every time he calls himself God, it may seem boastful, but more importantly, he is reminding himself that what he has done is far from enough. At noon the next day, Qin Yun had a sweet lunch in the company of the girls. Since Moda had just joined the big family of the Temple of God, she was arranged by her to sit next to him and enjoy the food. After another pleasant chat, Robin charmingly fed him the fruit in her hand and then said, "Did Nami tell you? We found the small sky island Visalia in the nearby sea." Oh, Qin Yun was startled. How could Nami be so connected to Visalia? And then, did you get the weather book on Visalia Island? Of course. After Nami discovered post-Visalia, she ordered the priests to go to the island to buy books, and she also got their contact information. Not bad, not bad. This way, Nami and Vivi will know how to develop their fruit abilities after learning. Nami's dream is to draw a complete world map. With the help of the power of clouds, she has been floating in the sky to explore and paint. After discovering the island, he never takes risks easily. He will order the priests to explore the island and look for devil fruits or gold. It must be said that they did gain something, such as the bird fruit vulture form, and some jewelry and gold. However, after all, devil fruits are hard to come by, so it is faster to use the fruit abilities of others. I discovered an island the day before yesterday, but I haven't had time to send people to explore it," Nami said, taking out a piece of paper from her arms with infinite capacity. When it was spread out, it turned out to contain a legend about where a treasure was buried. "This is something I got by accident when I was making money in the East China Sea. The 3 gems painted on it are priceless. Brother, how about we go on an adventure together?" "Oh, I can't believe that you are not short of money at all now, but you would actually covet something like this." Qin Yun looked at it intently, reading the contents and pondering them secretly. Askar Island. Could it be that this is the island where the cursed holy sword, the 7-star sword, is kept? There seems to be a witch named Maya, who is very beautiful. How can you describe me as drooling? I should be more interested. Besides, of course, the more Baileys, the better. Qin Yun was impressed by Nami's expectant money-obsessed look and caressed her orange hair lovingly and agreed, "Alas, there's nothing I can do about you. Just go. You can ask other people if they want to go." I knew that my husband is the best to me. Nami was so happy that she knew her limits and rushed into Qin Yun's arms, holding his head and kissing him fiercely. Qin Yun's lightning speed seemed to be completely ineffective, and he was unable to dodge her sneak attack. He was attacked by Nami several times before he was able to control her. He kneaded her little face helplessly and said, all right, look at you. You drooled all over my face again. Aren't you afraid that Robin, Kaya and the others will laugh at you? Damn Qin Yun, he really doesn't know how lucky he is. Nami curled her lips and said nonchalantly, Tesk. Who doesn't know who? You're making fun of me now. I'll have plenty of opportunities to make fun of them. At this moment, Robin suddenly chuckled and joined in. I am also very interested in this treasure. I have heard of the Askaka island written on it. I believe there will be a lot of historical relics on it for me to study. Oh, Sister Robin knows too? Nami stopped playing with Qin Yun, sat obediently in his arms, and moved around freely. Well, on Askaka Island, there is a legend that a red full moon appears every 100 years. The local people are very superstitious and believe that this is an ominous moon that will bring disasters and changes. They believe in the gods of the 7 stars of Askaka, and the gods gave King Askaka 3 precious jades as a shield, which is the treasure that Nami wants to get, and the invincible holy sword, the 7-star sword, as a spear. Seeing that Robin stopped talking, Nami exclaimed with a strange expression, Tilda as expected, Sister Robin. What she said is much more comprehensive than the information I got by accident. After saying that, seeing Robin's teasing smile, she glared at Qin Yun in shame and anger and quickly jumped to Kailina's side. Unexpectedly, when Kailina saw her blushing face, she also stretched out her strange hand and scratched her waist, which caused Nami to resist in shame and anger, and the two began to play and fight non-stop. Qin Yun has been spending quite a while with the girls, and most of them have mastered the armament haki and observation haki. Therefore, even if Nami turns into mist, she cannot escape Kailina's tickling. Qin Yun suddenly saw Moda standing beside him with her eyes curved into crescents with joy, and asked, By the way, have Shira and the others brought Moda's parents back? Robin nodded and responded, I'm back. I came back early this morning and was waiting for you in Arpeado. Yes, their efficiency is acceptable. Seeing Moda's surprised expression, Qin Yun stretched out his big hands and held her in his arms. Then our little Moda can also see her parents. Yeah. Moda was so happy that she didn't know how to express her joy at this moment. She just closed her eyes slightly, straightened her body, and gave everything she had to Qin Yun, just like yesterday. Qin Yun chuckled. This lovely little flower was picked up by her as soon as she came back. She had just been with him for a short time, and her clinginess was just right to make people like her but not annoyed. Moda's clothes for those who are used to looking at pictures at the end. Chapter 79 The Truth Behind Moda Being Abandoned. Qin Yun lowered his head and picked the flowers for a while before letting go of Moda. He smiled and said, Let's go and change into a gorgeous divine concubine outfit so that your parents know how well you are living here. Yes, Brother Shen, I will listen to you in everything. Moda followed all his orders. What a lovely girl. He stood up with Moda and ordered, Nami, for Askaka Island, you should first confirm the number of people, and then we can go. His words interrupted the fight between Nami and Kailina. Good. After Nami responded, she stopped playing around with Kailina and started to do her business. Qin Yun took off Moda's secretary outfit, changed her into a dignified and elegant goddess dress, and then took her to Arpeado. Today, Arpeo is mainly used by the Old Angel Islanders and the Shandians to live together. The former shrine is still there, and angels come here to clean every day. Entering the palace, Shira and other priests had already heard Qin Yun's instructions and had brought Moda's parents to wait in the palace hall. When Qin Yun held Moda and sat on the throne above the hall, Shira and others shouted in unison, Your Majesty's saintly virtue is so great that it shocks the world. Your grace is so widespread that it educates the world. Qin Yun nodded. Moda's parents were also present. They saw that Moda was also very excited and it didn't seem fake. However, she was intimidated by the momentum of Shira and others and did not dare to move. Moda, go meet your parents. Okay. After Moda responded softly, she looked at her parents at a loss. She really wanted to see her parents, but when she actually saw them, she was a little worried about the truth of the matter. Did her parents really abandon her? Moda's parents are Kong Shi and Kong Da. Even after hearing Qin Yun's words, they did not dare to act rashly. After all, the strength that Shira and the others showed yesterday was too powerful and intimidating. In the end, it was Moda who took that step. After a brief exchange, Moda threw herself into her mother's arms, her happy smile healing everyone's heart. Qin Yun knew their attitudes by reading their minds. Their love for Moda was not fake. Then why did they choose to abandon Moda and go to work in the Navy canteen? After a long time, Moda and Qin Yun knew the truth of it all. It turns out that Moda's parents were too naive. Before they went to work at the Navy mess hall, they asked nearby neighbors who they were on good terms with to take care of Moda. But this kind of thing, even between blood relatives, may be ignored or even turned against each other to cause harm. What's more, what about a neighbor who is just on good terms with you? It's good enough that they didn't harm Moda. Therefore, after 2 months of being cared for by her neighbors, they no longer cared about Moda. It was even more unfortunate to send living expenses and letters back home. The Baileys and letters they wanted to send to Moda were sent by a navy who claimed that he would go on missions to the kingdom of Lulusha every month. After delivering it twice, the sailor easily imitated Moda's handwriting and deceived Moda's parents. Naturally, all the Baileys fell into his pocket. It is true that a hemp rope tends to break at the thinnest part, and bad luck loves to find the unfortunate people. Moda did not cry after knowing the truth, but instead felt relieved as if she had survived a disaster. In her opinion, her parents did not abandon her, which was far more important than those material things. Where is that Navy officer? Qin Yun asked indifferently. If anyone bullied his woman, he would not hesitate to lash out with wrath. When Kong Shi heard the bone-chilling sound, he trembled suddenly. Even though Qin Yun did not put any pressure on him, his aura was enough to scare this weakling man. Seeing this, Shira asked, Your Majesty, how about we send out more troops to kill that marine? No need. When he strikes thunder, it is much easier to destroy than to protect. Kong Shi wiped the cold sweat from his head and said quickly, Hames, that Navy officer was killed in the battle yesterday. I saw his head fly into the sea with my own eyes. The reason why he was so frightened was that when he was brought out, he saw the extremely fierce battle between Shira and other priests and the Navy yesterday, with blood everywhere. The idea of Shira and other priests is very simple. The gods will rule the world sooner or later. If they kill more people now, there will be less resistance when they rule the world in the future. Dead. Qin Yun saw that his expression did not seem fake, and there was fear in his heart. It seemed that Shira killed a lot of Navy yesterday. He couldn't help but praise Shira. You did a good job. Of course I will do my best to serve your majesty. Qin Yun nodded. The name Shira was indeed correct. He was absolutely ruthless when it came to killing people. He thought about it and realized that among the goddesses, the only ones who had a certain fighting ability and desire to fight were Vivi, Tina, Nami, Robin, Machida, Tashigi Khalifa, and Perona. Except for Tashigi, who is a swordsman and does not eat devil fruits, and Khalifa, who is still playing the amnesia game, they all already have the power of fruits. Well, it's time to use the devil fruit in his hand to improve the combat power of his subordinates. Thinking of this, Qin Yun raised his hand and took the devil fruit from the storage room. Shira and other priests seemed to realize something. They looked at Qin Yun with fanatical eyes and knelt on one knee. Qin Yun Bailey expanded, selected a few devil fruits, took out their abilities, and announced calmly, Shira, I grant you the power of the ancient species, the Spinosaurus form. You will have the unparalleled power of the Spinosaurus. Shadley, I grant you the power of the dog, big tongue dog form. You will have defense as strong as stone. I grant you the power of the bunny. It will give you the agility and speed of a bunny. Jedus, I grant you the power of a horse. I will give you the physique and endurance of a horse. Wepa, I grant you the power of the bird vulture form. It will give you the aerial combat capabilities of a vulture. Thank you, Your Majesty. Your Majesty is so holy and virtuous that he shocks the world with his grace and enlightenment. In this way, the strength of his subordinates will be greatly enhanced. Coupled with their two-color domineering, it will be enough to ensure that he will not be left without any subordinates when fighting against the 4 emperors. Moda also finished chatting with her parents. With Qin Yun's arrangement, Moda's parents opened a restaurant in Arpaia to make a living. Qin Yun brought Moda back to the temple. Moda was so grateful to him that she took the initiative to pull him into her courtyard and cooked a meal for him. Qin Yun ate this meal with gusto, eating again and again just when he was worried that Moda was too tired from cooking. The stubbornness in her eyes touched his heart, and he couldn't help but clench his fists and love her even more. At noon on the 3rd day, Qin Yun felt someone was trying to tie up his monkey. He woke up slowly and found that there was an arm as soft as jade growing on his calf, which was silently teasing his big feet. Without thinking, he knew that Robin was playing a trick on him. Chapter 80, Coming as a God. As the weak electric current was stimulated, Robin's soft moan was heard from outside the door. Qin Yun smiled knowingly and patted Nami beside him, waking her up from her sweet dream. Nami, hurry up and get up, or the sun will hit your butt again. Nami reluctantly turned over and continued to sleep. Crack, crack, ah. Nami gave Qin Yun a few punches in shame and anger, and got up yawning helplessly. Qin Yun smiled and signaled with his eyes. Nami pinched his waist and helped him put on his clothes. Lovely Nami, even her morning grumpiness is so pleasing. After everyone had lunch, under Nami's guidance, Qin Yun took her, Robin, and Vivi on a flying carpet to Askaka Island. Now the small mantra and the mantra have been built, but they need Qin Yun to inject lightning as energy for their flight, and using the power of floating is not as convenient as a flying carpet. The 4 of them finally arrived at Askaka Island while laughing and chatting. There is only one small town on this island. The residents there are all capable of fighting, but they are relatively weak and play no role at all in the movie. Qin Yun's observation skills burst out, and in the blink of an eye he figured out the approximate location of the people on the island. What puzzled him was that there was a naval base on the island, so why didn't he see it? The ruler of that naval base was Saga, who had learned swordsmanship together with Zoro at Shimitsuki Kishiro's swordsmanship dojo. However, considering that the content of the theatrical version and the real One Piece main plot might not necessarily connect, he was relieved, and it saved him the effort of killing. After locking onto the direction of the town, the flying carpet quickly flew towards it. In less than a moment, Qin Yun brought the 3 women to the top of the town. At this time, they were wrapped in the mist created by Nami, making them impossible to be discovered. Are they performing a sacrifice? Robin and Vivi looked in the direction Nami pointed and found that there were indeed quite a few people kneeling in front of a statue, mumbling something. It seems so, Wei muttered. Then an idea suddenly occurred to her and she said excitedly, Hey, I have a good idea. Oh, tell me about it. Robin asked curiously. The 3 gems Nami wants to find may be in their hands. Isn't my husband a god? If he suddenly appears when they are kneeling and showing his magical powers, maybe we don't need to work hard to find them ourselves and can get the 3 gems. This is indeed a good idea. Wei, you are amazing. Qin Yun's 2 arms were held by Nami and Wei respectively, and he couldn't pull them out. He could only lower his head and rub his face against Wei's cheek to show his appreciation. In that case, we might as well make some noise to make the arrival of the gods more realistic. Nami curled her lips and began to arrange everyone. I will create thunderclouds and rain, and Waiwei will create a cloud of sand to cover them. Sister Robin will just watch and be the mastermind behind the scenes. Robin laughed dumbly. Okay, Tilda, I'll just watch you perform. As for Onii-chan, find the right opportunity, transform into lightning, split the statue in half, and make a brilliant appearance. Wait, that won't do. It's better not to destroy the statue. It's an ancient artifact with history. Robin shook her head and rejected Nami's arrangement. Qin Yun was stunned. He really wanted to turn himself into thunder, blow up the statue, and then appear there out of thin air. In this way, these people would probably think that the god was omnipotent. Robin's character does hate people who trample on historical relics at will. In that case, I will just teleport here. Seeing that everything was arranged, Nami and Waiwei began to take action before the statue. Maya's grandmother, Ilyansa, was kneeling on the ground, shaking her big bright pink head and muttering in a low voice. Many townspeople in the back did the same, and Maya knelt behind Elesa. Gods who reside in the 7 stars of Asuka, please fulfill the wishes of mortals like us. Please use the great power of the gods to protect us from all the troubles and disasters boarding at everyone prayed over and over again, and their actions were not in vain, because the weather on this island was good and few pirates could discover it. Is this everyone's luck, or a gift from the 7-star gods of Askaka? Perhaps, in the extraordinary world, gods really exist. Just as everyone finished shouting another prayer, something strange happened around the altar. Originally there was a tranquil blue sky, but suddenly the weather changed and dark clouds surged as fast as ink, blocking out the sun. A gust of wind suddenly arose, with irresistible force, blowing up the dust on the ground, forming a series of ochre-colored barriers that covered the sky and the sun. The dust and strong wind intertwined, like an angry beast, wreaking havoc between heaven and earth, making the originally clear vision blurred. Stop praying and look around. An exclamation from the crowd interrupted the progress of the sacrifice. Just as Elaine was about to scold them, her eyes widened in shock at the scene around her. What's happening here? Lady Elesa, Lady Maya, did our sacrifice bring down the wrath of the gods? The devout believers kept bowing their heads and kowtowing, praying for God's forgiveness. There was a faint rumble of thunder in the wind and sand, and the young children were frightened and burst into tears, and the noisy adults were also terrified. Then, raindrops as big as beans began to fall mercilessly, mixing with the sand and dust to form a chaos. Even the blazing fire for sacrifice was extinguished. Their clothes were rustling in the wind and their hair was disheveled, but they still stayed where they were unable to leave. Their eyes showed both astonishment at the sudden change and awe of the unknown power. Lady Elesa, what should we do? We are surrounded by countless barriers made of sand. We can't leave here at all. Elesa frowned, and Maya beside her looked worried. As a witch, she seemed to be blessed with divine power and stood still. Unfortunately, no one noticed this in the panic of the crowd. Elesa was determined in her heart and shouted, "Everyone retreat to the front of the statue, surround Maya and let her pray to the gods." As soon as the words fell, everyone quickly surrounded Maya. Upon seeing this, Maya quickly placed the 3 pink gems in her hand around her body in the shape of a triangle. She closed her eyes and whispered a prayer incantation, praying that the gods' anger would subside. Boom! Exclamation, exclamation, the deafening thunder resounded through the sky, attracting everyone's attention. Suddenly, someone noticed something was wrong. The witch had disappeared. Maya, where's Lady Maya? All right, legends, that's it for today. If you're ready for the next chapter, smash that like button and flood the comments right now. Remember, we've got 3 days to prove this story needs to continue. Subscribe so you don't miss the drop, and I'll meet you in the next audiobook.